The Royal Rumble is this Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. You know, for many people, they have a favorite time of year. Some people it's Christmas, some people it's Halloween. For me, it's Royal Rumble season. It's always a fun time. There's always surprises, always, superstars you didn't think you'd see for a while. We get winners, we get a vision for WrestleMania, and this year is going to be a big WrestleMania in LA. And I've got two very special guests that will be joining me. But just before we do, we've got a lot of matches that we're going to be talking about here today. 2 Royal Rumble matches and 3 other matches on the card. So let's see what we're discussing. So there you have it. It's going to be a fun show this Saturday evening. Feel free to get involved in the comment section as well with your predictions here today. And if you're watching on delay as well, then thank you for joining us on delay. And make sure to let me know your predictions in the comments of this video as well. But without further ado, I've got 2 very special guests joining me. So let's introduce them on. Starting off with On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, 2 Sweet Kyle. OTM is in the house. 1/3 of the terrific trio. How are you doing, Kyle?
I am doing fantastic, Steve. It is an absolute pleasure to be back on your channel. I think the last time that I was on was for All Out, which I was attending, but I am not attending the Royal Rumble this year, but I will be attending WrestleMania in LA. So we are on the road to WrestleMania officially.
We certainly are, and that means there'll be definitely a vested interest for yourself there. Perhaps 1 or 2 names that could be main eventing WrestleMania. The show that you'll be attending could be confirmed this Saturday evening. Of course, we look forward to discussing potential Rumble winners, surprises, and all sorts. But before we do, we need to get our second guest on today. He is, well, I think he's a live streaming king almost. He seems to be live streaming every single day. In fact, move over Darren Young. This guy is Mr. No Days Off. It is none other than Tino's time in the house. He's taking over, ladies and gentlemen. Tino, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me on the show. I appreciate it, Steve, having me back on. Ready for this pay-per-view, my favorite of the year. It's the first one of the year, too.
It is, and we start off in style, it seems to be, with the Royal Rumble. Like you say, favorite event of the year. I'm not going to lie, it's my favorite as well. The Royal Rumble actually is just something so special. Kyle, is it your favorite show of the year?
It's definitely in the top 3. I mean, I don't think I can put anything ahead of WrestleMania because of the spectacle that it is. But other than WrestleMania, yeah, Royal Rumble's got to be right up there. Just the unpredictability that comes with both those Rumble matches. It's very fun to watch.
Absolutely indeed. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got some people joining us in the chat already. So without further ado, we'll get straight into it. We've got Richard Rhodes in the house with us already, nice and early, and letting us know as well that it's the moment we're waiting for. Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons compete in the Royal Rumble match this Saturday. Could be potential NXT call-ups. We'll be talking about potential surprises later in the stream. We've got Robbie Collins in the house. Great to see you, Robbie. Of course,
what's up, Robbie?
He's always joining these streams. It's great to see you in the house, Robbie. And as well, we've got Marcel with us as well. Says, hi, guys. He's asking how we're all doing. I'd like to say, if I can speak for everybody, we're all doing very, very well. Hopefully, all have got Royal Rumble fever. Dan the Man Williams as well. DWE in the house. It says, it's between Sammy, The Rock, or Cody. I can't decide which one. Well, maybe, just maybe, we might be able to influence that decision later in this stream. That is our aim and our intention. But just before we do get started, I want to get everyone's excitement levels before we go into match 1. So I'll start with Kyle. What is your excitement level out of 10 for the Royal Rumble this Saturday?
I think it has to be a 10 just based on the fact, and we talked about this before we went live, that it is Triple H's first Royal Rumble as head of creative. So for me personally, I don't want to speak for everybody else. It has to be a 10 out of 10. And I also think, even though there are the favorites, which we will probably talk about, I think it's somewhat of an unpredictable card from top to bottom. So with all that, it's got to be a 10 out of 10 for me.
Absolutely. Tina, what would be your, right now, your rating between 1 and 10?
I mean, I would completely agree with Kyle, and I've said it like since Triple H has taken over. I think this could be one of the most unpredictable Royal Rumbles ever because we really don't know what's going to do. And we look at like the men has what, 15? I was trying to count when you were showing it, but what, like 14, 15 men? And the women, I think, is like 6. So, I mean, there's probably a lot of people that we can, like, predict, but there's still, like, they announced Cody, and I feel like they wouldn't have not have announced Cody if they didn't have something else planned. So, we could get our hopes up, and like we were talking, I was saying how I want to temper my expectations, because if something like that, and if I hear you can smell what the Rock's cooking, I'm going crazy. And it's just something like that. So it's one of those things, and I feel like, Triple H is kind of shown with, like, the Raw 30, that it is a lot different compared to like what like Vince did with the anniversary shows. But we'll get into all that. So it's definitely a 10 out of 10. I agree with Kyle.
Yeah, Steve, where are you at?
See, the thing is, for me, I wanted to go a different number to you guys, but I can't lie. I'm at the 10. I'm at the. I mean, we're not going to get Sean Spears there, are we? Yeah, but it's a perfect 10, isn't it? Imagine if Sean Spears turned out of the 10 position. But at the same time.
Hey, congrats to him, by the way, and just became a dad.
Absolutely, yes. So we'll probably have a few sleepless nights ahead of him. Perhaps the Royal Rumble, maybe next year could be the spot.
You would know about that, right, Steve?
I would know quite well about it.
Like your comeback show.
Pretty much. And when it comes to pay-per-views and when it comes to the live streams, I did one just to sort of, warm up again the other day. And now we're going full in for this one. And it's great to have you guys on board with it as well. But yeah, it's got to be a 10 out of 10. Like you say, Papa H there, he's got the pencil. There are all these rumors going about. Is it going to be a Rock return? Maybe not, judging on what we're seeing with a lot of the rumor mill. We've got the names like Steve Austin now potentially being thrown to a WrestleMania match. We've got, the likes of Sami Zayn coming in there. Cody's coming back. And, the idea as well that we've seen wrestlers go to other promotions, the likes of, New Japan Pro Wrestling, the Wrestle Kingdom. Carl Anderson was on that show. Is a favor coming back like a Jay White or somebody like that? Maybe a Kairi Sane in the Women's Royal Rumble. There's lots of potentials that we could get here. Triple R as well, with Dragon Lee being one of the tag team champions. So there's so much going on. Wrestling Noah also for New Japan also. Just imagine the idea of the Great Muta just turning up one more time. I know he's done his last match, but he's never been in WWE and he's been wrestling for so many years. I think, I would probably lose myself with some of the potential surprise entrants we could get. Dan, given his take on it as well, says I'm very excited for the Rumble, but I'm more excited for my singles debut at the end of February. Of course, he's been training to be a pro wrestler. First singles match as well. The Rumble is 10 out of 10. Fantastic, Dan. We hope that singles match goes well. I believe he did. Yeah, I believe on his first match, though, wasn't it like a battle royal, Dan, that you did, and you won it as well? So Rumble experience almost coming into this. We probably have to keep a keen eye on those comments.
Surprise entrant right there, like Tino's saying, yeah.
Absolutely. If we see the letters DWE come up there, I swear that we're going to put some late bets on you, Dan, to get the Rumble win. I think that's what we'll have to do. Marcel saying to us as well, I hope that the last two in the Rumble are Sami and Cody, and they hit the ground at the same time. Loving that idea. Very 1924 as well. And we can go into that idea a bit later on as well. Marcel was saying then we could get WrestleMania Night 1, Cody versus Roman, Night 2, Cody winning, and Roman and Sami Night 2. For the Universal Championship, and Sami wins. Loving the fantasy booking there, and we'll go more into it a bit later on. Robbie says, I think the only thing that I've not liked in the build is the amount of people announced for the men's Rumble. Nearly half, I think, announced. Yeah, there is half announced, but of course that also means there's half not announced. So who knows who is going to show up in the Rumble? And DW did say, I won a Rumble that they sent me in. So there you go. He has got that experience. Keep an eye on Dan's picks throughout the stream. He is indeed. But I tell you what, someone else who is a pro and someone who's been, the champion for a long time. Roman Reigns was mentioned a couple of seconds ago. Let's kick it off, shall we? Let's go straight into it. Roman Reigns taking on Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, which will never not be a mouthful. I look forward to it being the Universal Championship and WWE Championship one day in the near future. But this storyline, it seems to have been started from August, guys. I mean, let's be fair. KO had that change as soon as Triple H took in charge. And he said at the time, I'm coming for Roman Reigns. We've had to wait long and steady to get himself that opportunity to get over to SmackDown. It's played in with the fantastic and beautiful storyline of Sami and the Bloodline. It'll be interesting to see if Sami will play a part when it comes to this match on Saturday. I think that the prediction could be a foregone conclusion, but certainly I think the storytelling could be a lot of fun. Tina, I'm going to start with you. Your feelings on the match?
I mean, I'm excited for this match, and I was definitely, because like I was saying before we started recording, also, I've been going back and watching all the old Royal Rumbles. Did you guys know that they've actually faced each other at 2 different Royal Rumbles? I forgot about the one. I remember the one a couple of years ago with the handcuff situation and everything. So I think this match is going to be definitely a lot better, and I think both of them remember that, and I think that they're going to want to make it better than what it was. But, I mean, in the end, what's really going to happen? We all know Roman's going to win. I don't see any possibility of Kevin winning this match. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a really good match. This one could very well start it off just like the other ones have, too. So, because I feel like they're going to want to start it off with, like, a bigger match. So we could see this one start off And, so I'm excited for it. I just think Roman's going to win. I think we'll see some with Sami and Kevin, maybe a little like tease again. And then, yeah. So that's what I think is going to go on with it.
I think you make a lot of sense there when you talk about that, especially with the idea that we've seen before in the rumor mill. So, of course, we have to take it with a pinch of salt. But if you're not coming on last, it's usually best to go on first. And Roman is that guy. We've seen him on shows. He is either main eventing or opening the show. So, Tim, I think you make a great point there.
And we've also seen it happen where Kevin competed against Roman and he's been in the Rumble. So maybe Kevin will be in the Rumble too as a surprise entrant because like he was saying, there's too many men entered so far. But if they can keep it to 15 or 16, I think that's good because in the past there's been 23, 24. So if it stays at 15 or 16, I think that will be fine. But I think that's another thing. I think Kevin will possibly be a surprise too.
It'd be interesting if that does go down.
They do it every year. They do it where they bring in just a few guys from the back,
Yeah, they do. And I think there's a good shout for that. And of course, Sami, the Usos solo, all not announced yet for the Rumble. I imagine all of them will probably be taking part in that at some point. But we'll go back to the Rumble a bit later on. But Kyle, what are your thoughts here with Roman and KO at this point? I mean, I think that Tina's made some excellent points here.
Yeah, for sure. Just to kind of piggyback what he was saying, I think these two are just destined to do this forever at the Royal Rumble. Let's just pencil them in for 2024. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. It's going to be good. It's never going to disappoint. So
it's always
why
good.
not? And like you said, last year, Roman Reigns kicked off the Royal Rumble pay-per-view against Seth Rollins for the Universal title, I believe. And now he could do it again this year. So I like that idea as well. But if this match was for a specific title, say it was just the WWE title, or just the Universal, Kevin Owens would have a shot. But there is no chance Kevin Owens is walking out as the unified champion going into WrestleMania. That has been penciled in with Roman Reigns' name for probably 2 years. So Roman's definitely going to win this match. I still am very excited for it because Kevin Owens is one of the best in the business. And whenever these two go at it, it's stellar. So, yeah, my pick's Roman Reigns, but I am very excited for what they're going to be able to accomplish here at the Rumble.
Yeah, I think, again, some great points once again there. It's been this close now. Roman's been champion for that long. For the Universal title especially, I think it makes 1,000 days now. He's that close to it. It seems silly he would lose that at this stage. Like you said, if the WWE Championship was on the line, maybe there's a shot, maybe that it could happen. But I'm with you guys. I mean, this match has been very well built up from, where we've gone through War Games. We've gone with the situation with Sami, being so loyal with the bloodline to the point now that almost KO seems to be turning up at the point that where Sami is now almost where he's got himself into a lot of trouble with the tribal cult we had this past Monday on Raw, which was chef's kiss of a beautiful segment, wasn't it? Perfect segment. It was. Followed with a tag team match as well, where Sami and Jay also retained those tag team titles there with Jimmy being injured. That was absolutely spectacular. I do feel that there will be shenanigans in this match. You mentioned, Tino, how they've had 2 matches before. Weapons have been in play. I think this is the first time that weapons are not in play. And I think, though, it could be just as good a match because the story will be just as beautiful. I do think Sam will be involved. Jonesy mentioned something to me, and I want to get your opinion on it because if it's not been announced at this point, it's maybe a speculation, a fantasy booking idea, however you want to take it. Tino, I'll start it with you. The idea of the last minute, because Roman doesn't want to see Sami until Saturday at the Royal Rumble. What if Sami is made the special guest referee at the last minute?
I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, I wouldn't see, and that's the thing too, because I was also thinking about it too. What if somehow this is where Sami turns on the bloodline and we see Roman versus Sami at Elimination Chamber for the titles? And then we see the tag team match that I think I mentioned out here before and we've talked about with the Usos, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. Because I feel like that's what it's leading to. Yeah. So what if that is where he does become the special guest referee and then he doesn't cost him the match, but he kind of turns and he kind of so I mean I definitely wouldn't mind that idea. I mean it would definitely be interesting, especially if he took the shirt off like Kurt Angle did.
That's an important.
It's like an honorary referee or something like that.
Yeah I like that.
I mean that I never thought about that though. That would be interesting.
Certainly would. Carl, what do you reckon about it?
Something I never really thought of until you said Jonesy brought that up, right?
Yeah,
it's a solid idea. I don't know if they're going to actually go through with it. And I wouldn't even be surprised, honestly, if Sami is not even involved in this match whatsoever, just based off what we heard on Monday Night Raw. He doesn't want him to be, involved. And I know he said, wait until the Rumble, and I don't want to see you until the Rumble, but I think Sami's just going to try to stay away until it's actually time for the men's Royal Rumble match.
That's an interesting idea. I think for me, I do think he will be involved in this match at some point. I don't think he'll be as referee. I think he's going to come in. I think he's going to attempt an haluva kick on KO, and KO is going to pull Roman in the way. I think that's going to be the first blooper of the night. And I think that there could be a second blooper of the night, which we could talk about later on. But you could probably guess it's to do with the Rumble and probably to do with the Bloodline. I mean, interestingly enough, the Usos were the ones that were protecting him in the Tribal Court. And it seems like, as you said earlier on, that's the more likely destination of opponents at WrestleMania. So, I mean, that could be very beautiful how the story can continue to play out. But it seems like a full house. Roman Reigns to retain. We'll see what our chat has got to say before we move on then to our next match. Just before I do, take away that banner. And then let's get in. We've got Noob and Co in the house. Thank you, Noob, for joining us. Hope you are doing well, my friend. He has got Roman Reigns winning. Roman Reigns to win this match. And so
Smart man.
Collins, smart money is on Roman. It seems to be a full house so far, which I don't think Baron Corbin got in the poker game, did he? But enough said about that on Raw 30, the better. Dean in the house as well says, hello, hope you're doing very well. Dean Winchester fan. Thank you for joining us, Dean. Feel free to join in and let us know your predictions for the Royal Rumble in the comments. But in the meantime, I think we're ready to go on to match number 2. And well, I mean, let's hope there won't be no technical glitches because we're going to have a first ever Mountain Dew pitch black match between Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. Yeah. Had to be done. Let me talk to you. LA Knight for me, I want to start off with him before we go into the Bray Wyatt story. He has carried himself so well, in my opinion. I really think that this guy has the potential to be the breakout star of 2023 because he is being thrown in with a former WWE champion in Bray Wyatt in storyline. I think he's carried his own in every promo segment he's been given. I think when you look at main event stars that have been beaten down by Bray, it seems to hurt them. Where LA Knight is a new and fresh face, I don't think it harms him as much. And when you look at like Raw 30 this past week, he shared the ring with The Undertaker. Well, technically, the ringside area at least. He stood outside the ring for the majority. But he actually is looking like he belongs with the top names in professional wrestling. So before we go into the storyline itself, Kyle, what do you think of LA Knight so far on the main roster since he's changed his name from Max Dupree?
It's a lot better than Max Dupree, I'll tell you that. And as someone who religiously watches NXT, I love what LA Knight did there in his brief stint. And I think if you put majority of superstars in this position in a feud with Bray Wyatt, who just returned to the company, it doesn't hit the same as it's hitting right now. I think that he is the perfect opponent, first opponent back for Bray Wyatt, and it's going to be happening at the Royal Rumble. LA Knight, even with a loss here, doesn't get hurt because, like he says, he is a megastar. That is the perfect way to describe LA Knight. He truly is that. So, yeah, I've been loving what they've been doing so far with him on the main roster.
Absolutely. And you make a great point there. He probably wouldn't be hurt either if he lost this match. Tino, what are you thinking of LA Knight so far?
I mean, I've been like Kyle's. I watch NXT religiously. I've went back and watched most of it from back like on the network and every Peacock and everything.
The Hulu days.
Yeah, all the olden days and all like just recently, and I religiously watched it. And when he was doing that stuff with Cameron Grimes and Ted DiBiase, and Cameron Grimes was being his butler and everything, and he was just, we knew that he was going to be a star at one point. And I when he came up as Max Dupree, my head fell and I was just so sad. I was just like, what are we doing here with this guy? This guy could literally be a future future WWE champion, Hall of Famer, depending on how it goes. And when he started saying the references of LA Knight, I knew it right away. And I was trying to tell everybody, they're like, who's LA Knight? I'm like, you need to go watch some NXT because this guy is great. And when he finally did that, and like, I was surprised that when they started this storyline, this is the first one. But with what he's doing, too. I think he's definitely done a lot better than people expected. And a lot of the people that really didn't watch NXT, I think, are now getting behind him to the point where like they're going to make him, like you said, the breakout superstar, where next year at this time we possibly could be talking about this guy winning the Royal Rumble. So I really love that, and I can't wait to watch this match. And I was seeing something possibly where it's like half cinematic and half this and that. I don't know. Just want to bring that up. I don't know how you guys felt about that. I see Kyle shaking his head.
So, what do we even know what to expect here? I mean, nobody knows.
The thing. Well, that's the thing too. I was gonna ask you guys, what do you guys think like this match is? Because that's the thing. We don't even know what it's lights out. They're gonna turn out the lights and
just get Mountain Dew surrounding the ring. Is it gonna be
slime time where we're gonna see like Mountain Dew come out like in the audience? What are we doing here? I mean, all I've heard pin, submission, and no count out, right? Or like street fight type of. So.
No rules, like you said there. I mean, it was my next question because I kind of feel the same as you guys. Like, surely it's not going to be pitch black and we can't see anything. I assume we're going to see the ring, but I did wonder if there would be the element of like, you know, if they tell everyone in like the stadium, like, have the phones ready, have like the lights, the sort of like your lights off the camera phones shining on the ring. Maybe that could be an idea. But
or some neon lights in the crowd.
Red light,
absolutely.
Please, no. Red light, no, please. I don't want to see that thing.
Like Hell in the Cell?
Yeah, no, please. We don't need that. When I went to Survivor Series, they had that. I think it was Survivor Series when him and Bryan Danielson faced each other. I couldn't do it. Like that hurt my eyes. I think weren't you at that one, Kyle?
I probably was. I've been to a lot of shows recently. They all blend together.
Hopefully it's like, that would be a good idea with the cameras because we don't need like different colored lights.
No, we do not. And I'm not sure if we need cinematic either, because let's be fair. I mean, unless they're going to do it as like the very beginning of the match and it quickly breaks to the ring, I feel like you're going to have a full stadium of people who are just going to be watching the screen. And it takes the energy out for me.
Yeah, and people I feel like would be mad that they came to see Bray. That's what they came to pay to come see.
He's an attraction.
Yeah. So absolutely. I think that I just wanted to bring it up because it was definitely something I was thinking about. Like, because what is this going to be? Like, I just,
Well, if he brings out the lantern, he should just have a Mountain Dew pitch black inside the lantern for free publicity right there. That's a money idea for them.
And then just blow it out.
Yeah.
Come out like green.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I have to ask this question. Now, I kind of really, I'm going backwards here because I want to ask about the Bray character really, but unfortunately I'm worried I'm going to forget this if I don't say it. Bray has had a long journey from where he was then to now. We've had obviously the introduction of Uncle Howdy. We're still waiting for the ideas if there'll be an Uncle Harper or Wyatt Six, all the rest of it. It's been a slow burning story. We're not even sure what the White Rabbit is meant to mean anymore, but still, that stuff's not been explained. We're not going to worry about it. What I'm going to focus on here is we're the Fly Five Funhouse last week. Now, Vince McMahon, of course, is back owning the company. A lot of people speculating the idea of like, oh, was that a Vince idea or a Vince call? That I'm not too worried about either. But it does make me suggest the idea that the Bray Racing has said he is Uncle Howdy. He's starting to get more of this evil side coming in. We had the Fly Funhouse. Is there a chance, as it's a pitch black match, that we could actually get a return of the Fiend at the Royal Rumble? And do we want it? Kyle, I'll start with you.
Do I want it? I would say no. But if they decide to go to it, I wouldn't be opposed to it because he's been doing all these callbacks to old characters of Bray Wyatt. So it would make sense if he revisited the Fiend and then the Eater of Worlds and then the Swamp Bray from NXT days. That would be cool, but I don't think we necessarily need the Fiend anymore. I like this just new character we have and the Uncle Howdy stuff. I think it's very interesting.
I like what you said there because, I feel the same. We don't need it, but I suppose if we are revisiting, he did mention about the Eater of Worlds very early into the run, and like you said there, now with the Fly Five Funhouse, it seems like a real progression of where we've been to speed everybody up if someone hasn't seen it to where we're going now. But I'm really interested in what this Bray brings, what the character brings in the future. Tina, what are your thoughts with the Bray Wyatt character at this point? Do you want a Fiend return to come here? Would that blow your mind at the Rumble?
I mean, it wouldn't blow my mind because, I mean, like you said, like we've seen like him reference it and everything, so it would make sense. What if they did something kind of like like Matt Hardy did, where he does like the incarnation, where you're seeing like a little clip of like each of them or something like that, or I don't know. But I personally would not want to see the Fiend back. I mean, if they want to use it here and there. But I just feel like we've been there, done that and everything to the point where like, I know we saw Alexa because we'll obviously get into that when we get to that match, but they've said, and she said in interviews that they still want to fix loose ends. So maybe that's why they brought it back, because they want to fix and redo what they wanted to do and couldn't do because of what they had the limitations. But now with Triple H, they don't, and they can do what they want to do. Maybe that's why they brought it back. Because when I saw that, I was like, wait, am I watching the wrong show? I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, am I watching the Fire? I had to like make sure I was live because I was like,
double take, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. So maybe that's what it is. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting to see. But I do think with this match, I do think we need to see some type of big reveal or something with like how Uncle Howdy or something to know where else it is going. Because what is he going to do at WrestleMania? Is he facing Uncle Howdy? I've seen like weird reports about that. And I don't know what to believe anymore. So that's the one thing. So I would definitely like to see it. I just don't know if I'd want to see it like all the time. Maybe have it come out every like once in a while. Like it's like, but again, it just depends on how they want to go. But I definitely trust Triple H more than, yeah. The
previous.
He who shall not be named.
Absolutely. Well, as long as it doesn't make the return
Yeah.
of Sister Abigail like he did back in 2017 in the Finn Balor feud, I think we'll all be okay. But at the same time, I do feel to myself that I kind of agree with a lot of the points you guys are making there. And obviously you said that what's the direction going into WrestleMania. For me, I'd like to see, well, I say I'd like to see, I believe it will be the Uncle Howdy stuff. I think the Uncle Howdy will be the good side against the bad side, almost the good cop, bad cop kind of environment. And we hopefully will get a reveal of what Uncle Howdy is meant to be. Of course, maybe it's like a Bo Dallas or someone like that that's under there. I've seen Vincent being rumored as well. But like you say, everything seems to be revisited, tie up the loose ends. But has the story been a bit slow for your liking, guys? Because for me, I do feel that we've had a real... I'm all for long-term storytelling. I will say that. But I do feel it's taken a long time from Extreme Rules to get there to where we are now. I think I would have liked a bit more personally. But I am excited now we're in the Rumble season because I think now we might start kicking it into overdrive as we get towards WrestleMania 10. And what have you felt of this Bray Wyatt return so far, just before we get a prediction?
See, I really enjoyed the return, and like when I was on like the Bama Chatter reward show and everything, and we were talking and everything about like the best moment between like Cody and Bray and everything. The more I thought about it, I definitely feel like the Bray, because the way like it was executed and everything with the characters and everything was great. The biggest thing with like Bray, like I don't, oh God, I lost my train of thought. I hate when I start talking about something and then I lose where I was going with it. I had a really good thing going too. Dang. But no, I mean, I feel like the biggest. Can you ask the question? Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
What are your thoughts so far with this Bray character? Has it been slow for your liking, or are you okay with the direction?
No, there we go. Okay, no, I mean, I've definitely enjoyed it. I'm sorry about that, but no, I've definitely enjoyed the build and everything to it. But like I said, I just think that we need to see something to where like, you know, like it goes somewhere and everything. But I mean, I've definitely enjoyed it to the point like we talked about like LA Knight getting stuff and everything. But again, it needs to go somewhere where that we see it, because it has been a long time since Extreme Rules. When was Extreme Rules? What was that?
September.
Was it September? Yeah, I mean, it feels like I don't even know anymore. Like the months are going by so fast. But I mean, I feel like we do need to see something like that. But I mean, I've enjoyed it. But I think it's harder for people that like don't like wrestling like as we do, maybe like the hardcore fans, as them to be like patient, because they're like, we just want to see something. They're in it for they want their satisfaction right away. They don't want to see like the build to it. So I mean, it should be interesting, but I mean, I've enjoyed it. So
that's fair enough. There,
hopefully.
Sorry, go on, Tina. You finish off, mate. You finish off, Tina. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, hopefully, what I was gonna say comes back to me. My bad, guys. I'm so sorry.
Maybe you'll find it.
We will revisit if we get there. Not a problem at all there. But Kyle, how have you felt then about Bray then up to this point?
I mean, I do understand the criticism of some people saying it's slow, but to those people, I say go watch AEW or another company, because if you don't like long-term storytelling, then WWE is probably not for you. And I think that this is one of the instances where it has paid off in the long run. I think we are going to get that payoff here at the Royal Rumble. Granted, there's a couple weeks during this feud where Bray Wyatt, for example, attacking the cameraman, and that was the segment. That was pretty much it. It was weird. I was there for that. I was like, okay, but why did we have this? There were a couple weeks here and there where they just seemed like they were repeating stuff. But as a whole, I think the body of work, that this long-term story has been, executed pretty well.
I think that's a good point. No, you say that. Like, there's been a couple of things maybe we question, but if they do revisit it later, maybe that's like the couple of just like, I don't know really how to put it, but like just those couple of notes you go back, that made sense. That's why he did that. If we get it later on, and you can connect the dots exactly. So fingers crossed that we do get there. But let's go to our predictions. I feel we've probably talked about Bray for quite a while now, so I feel a little bit that this again could be slightly predictable. I have to wait and see. But Kyle, what's your prediction for this one? Do you see Bray doing it, or do you think LA Knight, the megastar, is going to pull through and get a big win?
I actually went back and forth with this pick. I could see LA Knight getting the victory here, maybe with Uncle Howdy distraction, and that's where we build to that WrestleMania match between Bray and Uncle Howdy. But in hindsight, it is Bray's first televised match since he returned at Extreme Rules. I know he's worked a few house shows here and there, but this is the first time everybody is going to be seeing him. All eyes are on Bray Wyatt and this new character. So it makes more sense for Bray to go over here. And like I said earlier, LA Knight he's a star in the making. They got some time with him. Granted, he is 40 years old, so he's, the prime years we're kind of there right now, so they're going to have to go quick with him. But I think for the time being, Bray Wyatt going over in this match makes the most sense.
Do you know what? I think you took the words out of my mouth. I'm not going to waste any time. I completely agree. LA Knight not going to be wasted or ruined, whatever happens here, unless it's a really, really goofy match. And Bray Wyatt, like you say, first televised match back on TV or on a pay-per-view as well. Premium live event, sorry. He's picking up that W. So, Tino, what's your thoughts? And then we'll go straight to the chat.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. I think that because it is Bray Wyatt's first televised match, I mean, I don't think that there's a way for him to lose it. And I also think with LA Knight losing, it also doesn't hurt him unless, if it, like you guys said, it's a funny, weird match. But I mean, I think the worst, I think the worst it could be is something like the match that we saw between him and John Cena. Is something like that. I don't see, like, if they give Bray the control, we've seen what Bray has been able to come up with. So I think that, they have the thing. So I think it's definitely going to be really good, and I think that Bray is definitely going to win. But if LA Knight does win, I think it would be with some type of distraction as Uncle Howdy or whoever that would be to help him, just to set something up, because I also do feel like the Royal Rumble is one of those pay-per-views where we feel like by Monday, we should, after Monday Night Raw, we should kind of know where it's going for WrestleMania in a way. So, I mean, that's the one thing, too, that because it should be interesting. So, but yeah, I think that Bray Wyatt takes the W here in this one.
Absolutely. There's some great points made all around there. So let's get to our chat then. KXI has joined us in the house. Says, what's going on, everyone? KXI, thank you for joining us as always. Robbie Collins says, this one's going to be mental. Literally anything could happen, but I'm actually going LA Knight for this one. I think Uncle Howdy will help LA Knight and we will continue this feud. And do you know what? In a way, that could make a lot of sense because, I mean, Uncle Howdy has already given Sister Abigail to Bray Wyatt. It would be an interesting turn for the story. And also, I mean, yeah, rather than just Bray Wyatt wins, let's move on, we kind of get where LA Knight gets the big win. Like you said there, Kyle, a minute ago, he gets to get that push because, time perhaps not on his side. And Bray Wyatt actually still has a different direction to go in. We've got more questions than answers coming out of it. So, guys, I actually think Robbie makes a fantastic point here.
I wouldn't be surprised if LA Knight won. That's why I'm saying I was teetering back and forth with this one. I think Robbie could be onto something here. And with Triple H in charge, I think unpredictable stuff is going to be more common now in the WWE.
Absolutely. Tino?
I mean, I definitely agree with, it definitely could be where, like I said, LA Knight could win. And I mean, I don't think it would hurt either one of them. But again, I still think Bray Wyatt is gonna win. I just don't see him. The first match he's had, and I just don't see him because I feel like people are gonna be, oh well, he came back and he lost. It's the same thing. It's this and that. I think it could happen. I'm not gonna rule it out. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm just gonna stick with Bray Wyatt. So
yeah. I understand that there. Robbie, you've made me think, and unfortunately that hurts my head. So, but I think you made a fantastic point, though. On serious note, you made a fantastic
That's what
point.
happens when you and Robbie come on every OTM. My brain goes in a million directions because you two always come up with fantastic ideas. And I'm like, I think I'm onto something. And then SCW Steve's in my chat and Robbie Collins. And yeah, you guys come up with some good stuff.
I appreciate the kind words there. And obviously, you always do the same for us as well when you come into our chats also. But Jonesy, somebody mentioned about that idea about Sammy being the ref. He says it could be fun. Jonesy, thank you for joining us, by the way. Hope you were doing well. He says, no one near the top of the card wants to work with Bray. Bray destroys careers. Controversial statement, but, I mean, there has been some dangerous booking going. It's not really just been Bray's destroying careers. It's probably Bray's has been harmed in parts as well.
Himself, yeah.
So, yeah.
Bray's a mess.
Yeah. Robbie says, I do think even if Bray wins, they'll continue, but something just tells me this has LA Knight on it. Well, I tell you what, I'll give a big yeah if it happens. I would not be complaining. I would not be complaining. Let Robbie talk to you. He's got some ideas there for him. We're liking them. Jonesy says, just hope it's not too silly this match. Uncle Howdy will turn up. I think that's probably a safe bet that Howdy probably will turn up. We've got Noob & Co saying Bray Wyatt is winning, as well as Richard Rhodes also saying that Bray is winning. Good to see we've got some predictions coming in as well. Jones says, I'd love LA Knight to win. Bray does not need the momentum in his upcoming match against Bo Dallas, who I think that means he's implying is Uncle Howdy. Nubico says, I definitely don't want that nightmare fuel freak back because that will scare the kids. Certainly could scare the kids, and to be fair, it might scare some people watching as well, depending on how it was booked after the last time. Jonesy just might be one of them. DWE says, I have no clue what this match is. Will it be a cinematic? We're not actually sure. They're not giving so much away, Dan, at this particular moment. But what we feel is perhaps it could have that element. We think the lights could be out, but perhaps with, like we said, some sort of like neon lights coming in just to give us something. We need to be able to see enough, because if we can't see anything, we can't review it. So, think about us YouTubers if nobody else. Don't think about the people in Texas, of course. Jonesy says that Fly for Funhouse match is a waste of time. Nothing is ever explained. Thank God LA Knight is trying to carry this feud. There we go. A lot of love there for LA Knight. And
Jonesy doesn't like Bray Wyatt, does he?
He's a big Bray Wyatt fan, but I do think, talking to Jonesy, I think he's found this quite lackluster so far. I think he wants to see it move a couple of gears up, and I think he will probably be back in on board. Richard says, Uncle Howdy, I should be tuning in a good way. Hope Bray opens SmackDown with a message to LA Knight tomorrow. We can hope so. We've still got SmackDown to go, so still a bit of storytelling to be done between now and then. So it'll be interesting to see how it will go. Jones says, I'm just concerned Bray will somehow become Uncle Howdy, which would make no sense based on the Sister Abigail he took the other week. I mean, it does make a very good point. It could be hard to explain. Does anyone have anything to add to that?
No, I think he's right.
Tino?
No, I think that he's right with that. I mean,
it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it really wouldn't.
I agree. I just want to give everyone a chance to speak, really. I feel I've been talking a lot recently.
DW you just need a break, don't you? That's what it is. I know the feeling.
Catch the breaths, and then you dive straight back in. It's almost like if I entered number 1 in the Royal Rumble, I'm screwed by number entry 7. So I need a late number 5 done again. Absolutely. DWE says, maybe I could hide under the ring. Who knows? If I'm a surprise entrant, look for me under the ring.
Just don't trip like Titus, please.
Well, they have the actual boards these days. You'd go straight into it. That'd be quite painful. That would hurt big time, wouldn't it? But maybe it's a surprise entrant. We'll talk about that later. DWE, for me, my favorite, and I think the best version of Bray is the cult leader. Bray, he was mysterious, but wasn't so supernatural. It wasn't unbelievable. Where with the Uncle Howdy, it's too complex and goofy. Do you know what, Dan? I completely agree with you. My favorite was the Eater of Worlds as well.
That is the one thing. It is like kind of confusing. I feel like because I always try to think of like people that don't watch wrestling all the time, because I have like a lot of friends that like watch it, but they're not like me where I watch it like I'm rewatching all the Royal Rumbles and stuff. And so I try to think of it like that, because I try to think of like what they're gonna understand and what they're actually gonna like. And I feel like that's the biggest thing like with him, because like some people it's too hard. They're trying to figure who's Uncle Howdy, who's this guy, who's that, what's Alexa doing, what's So, I mean, and with the Eater of Worlds, it was simple. He came out and said, the whole world's in my hands. And it was nice. With all the weird kids. That moment still kind of freaked me out. I remember watching that, and I'm just like, damn, like, I'm kind of scared.
Arguably one of Bray's best feuds there. That was in the Cinder feud, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It was like that steel cage or something like that, I think that they did.
That was freaky stuff, that, but I have to agree. I do think that was his best character up to now. LA Knight has proven he's a main event player. I certainly would love him to get the opportunity to at some stage, even if it's not yet. But like I said, I think his potential will be breakout star of the year. Yeah.
I like I said, I think next year we could be talking about him possibly winning the Rumble.
I would love that.
It would be awesome if it could happen. I think we'd all go, yeah, if it happened. Josie says, I have no trouble with long-term storytelling. The trouble is when nothing ends up being explained. Look at Bray's past feud with Alexa, for example. Hopefully, though, if they are now starting to do that, maybe it's like when you tie your shoes, we just need to get the bow there to complete the shoelace at the moment. We've just done a little part way through that. I don't know why that's the analogy that came to my head. Apologies.
It's good, though.
Yeah. Hopefully it's good. I probably could have done better, but certainly that's what I'm going with for now. I'd imagine Roman will run away from Bray match and feud. Let's hope that doesn't happen in the slightest. I don't want a Roman or Bray feud at any point. No. We definitely don't need it at this point, and I just hope we don't have the ring covered in snake images again.
I forgot about that.
I heard somebody say they like that, and I'm sorry, whoever that person was, I just can't. I don't know how you like that. It gave me anxiety. I couldn't watch the match. I still can't watch the match. I watched the promo with that, and I can't do it. It's too much. Yeah. I don't know why.
I just unfollowed them on Twitter, wherever it was. But what's up, gang? The Bama Chatter Wrestling Podcast is in the house. Bama, hope you're doing well, my friend. No, he's doing his predictions as well later this evening. I think it's about 2 a.m. my time by the time he does, Bama. So I'll try my best. It can be past the bedtime, but I'll do my best for you. Richard says, hopefully Uncle Howdy unmasks himself during the Sister Abigail move. Then it could be a huge savior pop to scare Finn Balor. And of course, Richard sometimes will throw in the old regular troll comments, which I have noticed as well. He said that he thinks Eddie Edwards could be a surprise entrant. I don't think that's a troll comment, but it would be interesting if Impact.
Thought he was going to say Benoit.
Oh my God!
Let's not start that one.
My friend started saying CB because he doesn't want to get in trouble. He's like, when I say CB, you know who I'm like, yes, I know who you're talking about, bro.
Absolutely.
Come on now.
Heck of a wrestler. We obviously know how it ended, and it was horrible. And we'll just say to anyone that does go with Benoit in the comments, I'm not going to be calling them up. So just so you know that ahead of time. Cody as number 1 and Seth as number 2 goes all the way. Interesting stuff indeed there. And I might agree with you, but I'm not going to reveal that just yet. Jonas says, I'd love to see Uncle Howdy take out Bray by doing something like set him on fire, like the Yokozuna Undertaker casting match. That could make a lot of sense as well, because The Fiend did that to Randy Orton. Randy Orton did it to The Fiend, sorry.
Vice versa, yeah.
Yeah, vice versa. My apologies there. The memory in the last couple of years can go a bit fuzzy with the pandemic. But it was at TLC, wasn't it, in 2020?
Seriously?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be burned alive again.
I forget about like half those pay-per-views. I go back and like watch. I'm like, oh, okay.
They did the best with what they had. At least they were keeping us.
They definitely did great. I just like it's some
they
of
were
those
weird
things. Like I'm just like, But I definitely could see that like he said with Cody and Seth, we could see like we saw in 2020 with Edge and Randy, where they kind of I mean, I definitely hope Cody stays in the match longer, but I definitely we could see something like that where they started and then end it. But we'll talk about it more.
Yeah, I just want to keep people hanging on. I mean, the things we go straight to the Rumbles, but we've only got one more match until we get to it. But we're just going to quickly get through our last couple of chat comments that we do. Jonesy, you're right, though, by the way, 94, that really did set up that feud back in the day. Have to agree with that. And certainly I wouldn't be against it if they did it again. Like we said, we're revisiting old footsteps, if you will. So I suppose that was a footstep in the Bray Wyatt story. Richard says, I think the ring will be covered with Edge's Brood vibes. I mean, if you get a bit of the red blood vibes, I'm okay with that, as long as not the red light, as Tino said. Jonesy is enjoying the stream. Thank you, Jonesy, for doing something. If you please hit the like button if you are enjoying it, anyone that's watching it right now. Bama says, I think the people that like the snakes and the worms on the ring also need to get the AR sword of Drew someone and Bianca's AR braid whip. Someone during the match. Lol. To be fair, I don't think we disagree with that. And I think I'd go with Bianca.
Which one do you guys think would be worse, the braid or the sword?
Sword, definitely.
I don't know. You heard that braid against Sasha at WrestleMania. That's
what I'm saying. Like, wow.
I'm going with a very old reference here, and I do apologize to if this is too old of a reference, but I do remember, of course, Kai and Val Venus back in the Attitude Era with the choppy pee-pee segments, and of course, I think that the sword definitely can have its moments that can be very vicious. So I think I will pick that one of the two. For anyone that is old enough to remember that, thank you. You can join the old club with me. Noob and Co says those Bray Wyatt matches were weird during the pandemic, especially the Inferno match. I totally agree, Noob. And let's not get it started. Richard, are you Vince Russo?
Yes.
Maybe in disguise. Who knows? But he says that are up there, mate. Better than the Attitude Era. Definitely, I will say they are definitely better than choppy pee-pee. That is one thing for certain. But I think this is a perfect moment to move on to our next match, because we're talking about Bray Wyatt, we're talking about Uncle Howdy, and do you know what, that connects nicely with Alexa Bliss, because she is going to be challenging for the Raw Women's Championship, of course, against Bianca Belair. It took me a second there to get that on screen for you, but there it is. The ladies will be going one-on-one. This is not the first match they've had either. Alexa Bliss became the #1 contender. Of course, then when the match did take place, of course, that's when all the weird guys with the Howdy mask were in at ringside, and then sort of Alexa Bliss kind of lost her mind, busting open Bianca Belair. She was off TV for a couple of weeks. And now we seemingly get now a heel Alexa Bliss, very stone face. I'm loving, though, one thing I will say, I'm loving the fact her character has direction again. It felt so directionless when she was the babyface teaming with Asuka in late last year. I like now what we're seeing with that Bliss. I'm not sure if I want to see her with the Uncle Howdy Bray Wyatt stuff again, but what I will say is I've always been a big fan of Alexa Bliss, and I think that she's a great character when it's used and utilized correctly. And I think usually her moveset as well works really well with that in the ring also. So it'll be interesting to see what this character can do with that. But Tina, I'll start with you. We'll tie it all in together. Alexa Bliss, what are you feeling with this, with the Uncle Howdy stuff, before we go into a prediction with Bianca Belair?
I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I think the biggest thing, like why, and she said it, she was on a couple podcasts, and she's mentioned how she loved working with Bray and how she loved that time. And I know she says that she knew a lot of people didn't like it, but she really enjoyed it. And she said that she didn't like the way it ended. So I definitely think that something's going to happen, and I think that they're doing it just to fill and finish loose ends. I think that's why the Firefly Funhouse possibly came back. I could be wrong, but I just think that's the biggest thing, because now like with the direction where they feel and they have a little bit more freedom, where they probably want to do something that they weren't able to do. So I think it would definitely be good, and I think that, you know, I mean, it should be interesting, but like you said, with the direction, it just, we didn't, like, what was the point of them winning the titles, her and Asuka, for a week to lose the damage control? Like, there was just no reason for a lot of things that she was doing. And then now, at least with this, and then that thing that Uncle Howdy did, where he was, like, in the audience where like, before you go into the concessions or whatever, like, that was kind of cool and stuff like that. So, I mean, I've definitely enjoyed it. I just want to see where it's going to go. And that's, like, you know, so...
Yeah, I agree. I think the direction of this is going to be very fascinating, because I think it can tie a lot of loose ends, like you said there. And I think that leads me to a question I want to ask Kyle as well, just the idea of also what you're thinking of it. But do you think it makes Alexa Bliss as an ally for Bray Wyatt, or Uncle Howdy, or a target?
See, that's a good question. I don't think I can definitively say what side she is on, and we probably will see that play out here at the Royal Rumble. But whatever she is doing now is a lot better than, like you said, what she was doing, tagging with Asuka, carrying Lily the doll around, but there was no connection to Lily still. It was just there as a merchandise grab, and that was pretty much it. Alexa Bliss, for me, never been a fan of her, but her character work is top notch, and that is something I can respect. So at least she's got something else to dive into. But I just don't know where her allegiance is. I think it would be much more fun if she was kind of aligned with Uncle Howdy, and then she's involved in that WrestleMania match kind of as like a valet of sorts to Uncle Howdy versus Bray Wyatt. But I guess we'll find out here at the Royal Rumble.
That's an interesting idea. I quite like the sound of that. That could be a lot of fun there. I just want to throw an idea out there, because I have been really back and forth on the idea of the prediction of this match, because a bit of me feels kind of like with Roman Reigns. We'll go into the story now of these two, but like Bianca Belair, she's so close to WrestleMania. Almost feels like a Roman. She won't drop the championship at this point, but at the same time, you're building something here with this new Alexa Bliss character. Could be a good time to pull a trigger. If there was a chance that Alexa Bliss won, and I'm not necessarily asking your prediction here, guys, I'm more actually saying, could Bianca Belair end up in the Royal Rumble? She was actually face-to-face with Charlotte Flair this past Monday. Yeah. I kind of wondered if that was just the starting of seeds of something that we don't quite foresee just yet.
I mean, that could be just... Do you want to go ahead, Kyle?
No, go for it.
No, I mean, just like I said, like we were talking about earlier with the Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, maybe this is the one that starts it off. And maybe we do see that happen, and then we see Bianca in the Rumble, because, you know, they're obviously going to need a couple minutes, or maybe she enters, like, real late, or everything like that. So I think it's definitely could be a possibility to see something like that, just because, you know, like, we've seen it before in the past. So I think, I mean, no, it definitely is a possibility.
Yeah, that's something I don't think we've ever seen that match, is Bianca versus Charlotte. If that were to happen because of Bianca winning this year's Royal Rumble, I think that is a money match to have at WrestleMania. But they could also, if they really want to surprise us here, Steve and Tina, why don't you just have Bianca get the title back at Elimination Chamber? She drops it here, gains it right back, and then whoever wins the Rumble, Bianca's ready to go. And maybe the Uncle Howdy involvement and Bray maybe costs her the title at Elimination Chamber or something like that. I think there's a lot of different directions to go in this match.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just to have something happen at the Rumble,
or
at Elimination Chamber. Because when is it? Is it, what, February?
February, yeah. It's like 3 weeks, I think, after the Royal Rumble, if I'm not mistaken.
There's going to be a long period of time where there's not going to be anything till WrestleMania. So I feel like they have to do something like that.
Have a surprise.
Yeah.
I like it, because it doesn't feel like a one and done match. I can see a rematch coming after this, so I think you make an awesome point there, and it just makes the prediction even more harder. But I mean, the thing is here, Bianca Belair is looking for that revenge. Obviously, like we said, she got taken out, was busted open on her lip as well at the time. She said, there wasn't really much build this past week with the Raw Triple X there, but she said she's not forgotten. She will deal with this issue on Saturday. The question is, Tino, is Bianca going to retain, or is Alexa Bliss going to be your new Raw Women's Champion?
I mean, I kind of like you guys' idea, so I kind of want to take Alexa now, but I don't know if I can go against Bianca because it's like I just are they really gonna go with that type of plan? Like if we were writing the show, I mean, that would be let's go. But that's the thing, I don't know. So I want to take Bianca just maybe to get a prediction right. So I mean, I'm very bad at predictions, so I'm gonna take Bianca is winning to stay, but I mean, I definitely wouldn't mind seeing Alexa. And like I said, with the most unpredictable Royal Rumble, it doesn't just include the 2 Royal Rumble matches. We could see a lot of things in these 3 matches. And, they have a couple promos. I'm sure we're going to see somebody do some backstage segment. So I'm sure we could see, and that could be something. And people would be shocked. Because I think also a lot of people are kind of getting, bored with Bianca. I think there's some people that really don't want her anymore as champion. So maybe that is a way. Because then if they don't we still got the chamber, so we could see that. I mean, so I definitely, we could see something crazy happen, but I'm just going to say Bianca wins.
Interesting. Kyle?
Do I want to be edgy? No, I don't. I'm going with Bianca. I think there might be a DQ of sorts, whether it's Alexa throwing a fireball at Bianca, just getting, so angry that she snaps and, Bianca retains that way, or maybe some Uncle Howdy involvement. If Uncle Howdy is involved, I want him to pick a match. Don't be involved in 2 finishes, because then you're just getting too cute with this entire storyline. So if he's going to get involved, either pick this women's match or pick the match with Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. But I think the safe bet is going with Bianca to retain, but I think it's going to happen because of a DQ.
I think you make a great point there. I think screwy, goofy finish screams all over this, doesn't it? I like you. I want to be edgy and I want to do something different. I want to go Alexa Bliss. But after all the matches with Damage Control and every feud that Bianca has had, it feels like you said, Tino, some people are getting bored of it. It could be Bianca wins, lol. And I think, to be fair, we could be at that situation again. I think it's so close to WrestleMania. Many want the idea of, say, Bianca versus Rhea Ripley, for example. I think it'd be a great match if Rhea Ripley wins the Royal Rumble. Big if. Not saying that's my prediction at this stage. We'll have to wait and see. But I do feel, and like you said, it'd be quite fun if they could hot potato the championship over these next 2 shows. But I just think Bianca is retaining. I can't see it's this close to WrestleMania. She's almost been a year as champion. Would they make her drop it now? The only way I do it is see her doing it is if she goes to face Charlotte at WrestleMania. It's the only way I can see it happen.
Well, and let's be honest, guys. What match sounds better? I don't even care who the opponent is. Main eventing with Bianca Belair or main eventing with Alexa Bliss. And that's no disrespect to Alexa Bliss. I just think Bianca's here and Alexa's there.
Yeah. Especially right now. I mean, it's been 5 or so years since Alexa Bliss has been champion. So she's been to the mountaintop. She was definitely, like you said, she would have been that top name 5 years ago. But at this point,
she had that moment with Nia, didn't she? Where she had the championship and she had that big entrance where she came down like Shawn Michaels and
fantastic entrance.
So
that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, she's definitely had it. So I mean, I think that with Bianca, she had her one time. It was, and then her and Sasha and everything, and then, so I think this could be I feel like this is Bianca is now considered a top star. This is the first.
She's top 5 in the company, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's she was working her way to this to where now we got the EST, we got everybody, you know what I mean? Everybody is now behind her. I feel where before when she first did it, it was a little people and then more and more, but now she's a superstar. I think she, yeah.
No, I completely agree. Carry on, Tino.
So, that's all I was going to say.
Fair play.
Yeah, no, that's all I got.
That's fair play. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go into the chat. And just to go back onto our last bit, agreed, no circumcisions allowed during matches. Put the AR sword away. Yeah. DW says, Alexa should win the title, otherwise the big term means nothing. And I think that's a fantastic point here in a way. She's just had this big change of character. Does Dan have a point?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would make it, but I don't think it hurts her, and I don't think it means nothing if she doesn't have the title. I think it definitely would help, but I don't think it also hurts her.
Yeah, I don't think just because she had a big turn in character going from face to heel that she needs to win the strap, there can be other things that come out of this.
I feel like the title shouldn't just always make the person too. I feel like you don't need a title. Like Charlotte Flair doesn't need the SmackDown Women's title all the time, people. I'm sorry. What did she do to come back and win, like just because she's Charlotte Flair. Like I feel like she could be fine perfectly without it. I just, like there's people that don't need the title.
I understand that. I mean, the thing is like, I mean, Ronda's been missing since. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. But
if we see her as a surprise, I'm gonna cry. I hope not.
We'll have to wait and see. We'll be talking about her very. She's not
had
far
her
away.
Surprise last year. We don't need it again this year.
That's what I'm saying, man.
We'll have to wait and see how it will go. But I think, Dan, just to go back on this point very quickly, I see where he's coming from. But like you said, with the Bray stuff as well, there could be different avenues and alleyways for the storyline afterwards regardless. So it could be interesting to see what does come of it. But I agree with Kyle earlier saying that it needs to be one match for Howdy, not two. Obama says, let's assume Alexa doesn't win this because they want Bianca in a WrestleMania main event. Then what is the next step for an ongoing Uncle Howdy saga with Bray? Hopefully they move her to SmackDown soon. Do you reckon she should go over to SmackDown in amongst this storyline if she's going to be a big part of it? Or are you happy for Howdy to keep doing double duty each and every week? Kyle, I'll start with you.
No, I think going to SmackDown would be a wise choice. Just keep the story continuity on one show. I mean, it is cool that he showed up that one time, but I don't think it needs to be a permanent thing. So I like the idea of Alexa potentially going over to SmackDown.
Fair play to you, Tino.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it definitely would be where, like, he doesn't need to be like that one time, like Kyle said, was great. But, like, after a while, it's just, like, the same thing. Like, like, it's just, like...
Just on a different show.
It's on a different show. Let's go. Like, come on now. So, yeah. So, I think, and like you guys said, like, with the one match, I agree, too, where it's, like, we need to find... Like, it needs to not... Because then then that's what they're doing. They're focusing on Uncle Howdy too much, and this and that. So, I definitely do agree with all of that. So, I mean, I definitely, yeah.
I do as well. I think SmackDown move makes a lot of sense. Like you say, have it all restricted to one show and have Alexa Bliss feud with Liv Morgan, who's currently losing her brain at the same time.
That would
make that
let's go.
Story.
There you go.
Book it.
Let's do it. Marcel says, what I would like to see is all the different faces of Bray in the Rumble, each of Worlds, the funnest Bray, Fiend, and the new version. Don't think it happens, but seems funny. Yeah, 5 entrants, I guess, could be a lot, but we did get the 3 faces of Foley back in 1998. That was a lot of fun. If Bray wasn't in a match this year, perhaps it could have happened. But yeah, I say maybe probably a bit too far-fetched now. I'm hoping Alexa Bliss loses this match, says Noob and Co.
Me too.
And Bama says, good point with Charlotte and Bianca face-off. I hope they face each other in a title unification match. Yeah. Then we'd have one men's champ, one women's champ, and one tag team champs. That could make a lot of sense. That could be a good thing. And Jason says, sup guys? And it says, the legend, welcome back. Happy you are well. Thank you very much, Jason. It's good to be back. It's been a crazy couple of months, but it's good to be back with you all. And it's good to have good friends in the stream with me as well, watching the stream, of course, and of course, with me here on the show as well. I'm a very, very fortunate and blessed person to have you all here with us today. Rick Joe, just before we go then to Rumbles, we're just going to do these 3 ones and then we're going to go to the Rumbles, guys. Rick Joe says, Bianca wins and we have her and Charlotte unification match and Mania. Like Britt Baker in AEW, she doesn't need the title. So there's an agreement there with you, Tino, there from Rick. And Jason says Bianca retains and I think Alexa should go to SmackDown with the Bray and Howdy thing. So there we are. We are all caught up, ladies and gentlemen, and we are now going to what is, I think, going to get a lot of people talking nice and early. Let's talk about it. The Women's Royal Rumble match here, the 30-women match, and this is so far what we've got. We've got Emma, Shayna Baszler, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, Candice LeRae, and Zelina Vega all announced for the match at this point. Not going to lie to you guys, I'm glad that it's actually just a few names there because last year trying to read 24 names in that time really was a mouthful and very, very difficult. Go back just to watch that entertaining moment on its own from last year. But guys, I think the Women's Royal Rumble match here, like we said, we've only got a few women announced at this point. But I do think we're going to get a lot of surprises. I think there could be, obviously, a lot of women on the roster that have not been mentioned at this point. Damage Control were not mentioned. With Becky Lynch is not currently announced this match. We could get Ronda Rousey coming back in. Obviously, the surprise element as well. Perhaps people from NXT. And it's an exciting time for the Royal Rumble. And before we go into specifics, because I've got a breakdowns of numbers and entrants and stuff like that, Kyle, I want to start with you. Your excitement for the Women's Royal Rumble match.
I think just because there's been less participants announced that it's higher than the men's, and I think there are more options in the Women's Royal Rumble than there are in the men's. And when we get to the predictions, I'm not going to actually predict. I'm going to save that for later when we record for OTM, but I do have a few favorites that I'll touch on. But yeah, I definitely think the excitement level for the Women's Royal Rumble is a little bit higher than the men's, but I'm excited for both. Let's be honest. They're both going to be great.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to go with a winner and a runner-up. I know that when we were talking before, Kyle, you did say to me, it's just hard to make that full prediction at this moment. So I respect that later on, I guess the pressure will be right on. But if we can get certainly maybe a top 2 choice from you, that would be a fantastic, maybe even a top 3 throughout. See your personal favourites at this point. But Tina, what's your excitement level then for this Women's Royal Rumble match? Are you the same that it's a bit higher because we've got less entrants announced at this point?
Yeah, like you said, like trying to read that last year, I remember trying to read it on my pre-show, and I'm just like, so this person, that, like, I was like this, I was like, so guys, like, let's like go like that. Like there was just too many names. So yeah, 7 names. It's nice, and it's nice to know that there's 23 people that we don't know of, and obviously we still have SmackDown, and obviously we can predict like Bayley and Damage Control and Becky and all of them. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that we aren't going to see. And I actually have a list. I wrote down a bunch of superstars while I was watching all the old Rumbles so that I wouldn't forget. So I'll mention some of them when we start getting into it. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited because I just love watching it and counting out 5, 4. Like, that's just fun. Like, we're sitting, and it makes it go by faster. And it's just, the Royal Rumble is supposed to be the most unpredictable pay-per-view of the year. And with 7 people, we really don't know. I mean, we do know, but we don't know. And we don't know where they're coming out. So it's just like, that's the thing. That's the excitement about it. I love just waiting for that music to hit. And then when you hear that music you don't know, it's great. So, yeah, I definitely love only having 7 people. I wish there was only 7 men announced, but we'll talk about that later.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, I like the idea there of what you said there, the unpredictable factor, guys. It's really exciting, and we know at this point with the people in there, Raquel Rodriguez, chance for that breakout moment. Rhea Ripley seems like a heavy favourite. Liv Morgan wants to go from number 1 for some reason. Not quite sure why, but she wants to go the distance. Perhaps she wants to prove herself. I hope that's a story in the Rumble. I hope she gets that opportunity to try and go the distance. We've got the likes of Emma, who's come back to WWE, not done so much, but maybe a Royal Rumble could help. Zelina Vega, with Legado del Fantasma, now actually has a chance to break out on her own here.
Underrated.
Very underrated. Shayna Baszler looking to break bones in the Royal Rumble, but of course, no Ronda mentioned at this point. It's interesting to see how it's going to go down, but I'm going to go and start breaking it down for you guys now. Who is going to draw the numbers 1, number 2, and then we can go with number 3 later on. So to sort of just go with your gut feeling, just a gut feeling. Joe, I'm going to start off with my gut feeling of numbers 1 and 2. Then I'll come around to you guys. I think that Liv Morgan will get her wish and be number 1. I think Io Sky will be number 2 because I can see her being so that could go a long way in this match. She's a fantastic athlete as well. I think one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, in my humble opinion. But Tino, if you had to go for it, who would you go for numbers 1 and 2 at this point? If you had to guess, go out there and go on a limb.
I mean, I definitely agree with you on Liv. I definitely agree with her starting the match because she's been saying, I want to start 1. I feel like it's like between her and Thea Hall, who's trying to turn into the new Scrappy Doo, like, let me at him, Scoob, and like, let me like go, and crazy, like, what the heck. But I do think number 2, because we've seen it happen before, I think it's going to be a legend. I think we could possibly see like a legend, like Lita, somebody like that, where Liv's mouth's gonna drop and she's gonna be like, damn it, I fucked up, like I messed up, like I messed up, like I should not be in, you should not have started number 1. And I think that's what's gonna happen. I don't know who exactly. Like I said, I have a few people that, like, when we give the predictions, that I have like on like a list of could be surprises and stuff. But I think it's definitely gonna be like a legend or a surprise, because I think they're gonna be like, Liv, you want number 1, but here's your, like, you know, let's see if you can get through the legend now. She's got to fight her for at least what is it? Is it 90 seconds now? 2 minutes? I forget.
Varies from year to year.
Is it? Okay.
So I think it's more like the recently was 90 seconds, and I expected this year as well. I bet Triple H doesn't want it to be a super long show, or what it could be. It could be like a 5-hour show otherwise. So I reckon you're right there. Probably 90 seconds is likely. Kyle, I'll give you a bit of time to think about it there. Who do you reckon could be number 1 and number 2?
What's funny, Tino brought up legends. I was just going to fantasy book a start of Trish Stratus and Lita. Let's just rekindle a flame here. They're not going to win the Royal Rumble. Everybody knows that. So might as well get the full entrances, get the crowd into it from the very start. And 2 of the greatest of all time to start it off would be electric. So if I were booking it, I think that's my 1 and 2. I don't think it's going to happen, but why not?
I tell you what, I love your booking, by the way. The legends, let them go at it from the start. There,
Melina was number 2 last year, so
she was.
Was it last year? I thought I forgot. If it was
Sasha and Melina. I only remember because I was there and Sasha did the splits. That was all I remember.
That's all people remembered after that.
It's so crazy to think about, though. Like, that's the other thing too. Like, thinking about year by year, watching these people like not being there. Like, even a year ago, like, I was watching it, like, a few days ago, and, like, seeing, like, Sasha not being there. There's a few other people, like, the people that have been released, like, Tony Storm was in one.
AEW, yeah.
They're in AEW. It's just, like, how a year can change. So, hopefully next year we still got a lot of the same people here.
If I was fantasy booking, because you just mentioned it, if fantasy booking, I've gone with a prediction, but if I was fantasy booking, I'd have Becky and Ronda as the 1 and 2, because that way, more likely...
That's good, too.
Ronda probably wouldn't win it at that point, but also you finally have the stare down, because is this match ever going to happen? I still want it to happen, everybody. I know that some people may have lost interest at this point, but for me, I would be really keen on it. But let's go then with the number 30 then. I'm going to say that usually you've got sort of like a bit of muscle usually comes in towards the end of the match. And as much as I want to say Raquel Rodriguez, I think that she'll be in earlier in the match. So I'm going to say someone like Shayna Baszler probably could be number 30 for me for this match. I'm going to go Baszler for that spot if I had to. I thought it was a bit lackluster, but that's going to be my pick. Tino.
So I think that it's going to be somebody like I was thinking, like, I want to think of somebody like Big, because I feel like that it's number 30, and I feel like number 30 is like, I feel like we could, like, I feel like either the men's or the women's, we're gonna see like a John Cena moment. At least I hope we do, because I feel like that's like what we need. And I feel like there's been a lot of women that, like, could we see Asuka come back as her old character, as that like dark side? You know, we haven't seen Asuka in a while. Obviously, I don't think Doudrop would enter like last or anything, but she's somebody that could possibly come back. We haven't seen her come back. Like, there's gonna, like, I just think there's a lot of people, but I think it's definitely gonna be a surprise. So I want to go on Glim, and I know nobody's probably thinking about this number being number 30, but what about Chelsea Green?
Love it.
What about if it's just somebody that nobody's thinking, the music hits, there's just, everybody's confused, and she walks out? Because I also think whichever one starts, if we see Beth, we're going to see Edge. If we see Chelsea Green, I feel like we're going to see Matt Cardona. If we see, like, I feel like that's how it's going to go. So that's the thing, too. So I think it's definitely going to be somebody like that. But I'm going to go on the limb and just go, like, unpredictable. I'll say Chelsea Green enters 30.
Love it. Kyle.
I swear, Tino just keeps saying names, and that's my pick. Beth was going to be my number 30 just because I believe Rhea Ripley is going to be in the Final Four, and we need that confrontation on our television screen. Rhea Ripley, Beth Phoenix, toe-to-toe. It just makes so much sense. And I think that's a slam dunk number 30. I like the mention of Raquel Rodriguez because, you know, they are building her up, but I would like to see her get in earlier and, you know, maybe get 5 or 6 eliminations under her belt. I think that's a good way to get her over. Becky Lynch could be an option as well. And if you want to get the world talking, Mercedes Moné, a.k.a. Sasha Banks at number 30 would be
What if she came out as Mercedes instead of
Sasha? I think that would be cooler. I'd mark out more if it was Mercedes.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is as well, that I mean, we might as well go on to the idea of surprise entrance. You mentioned Mercedes Moné. I think Kairi Sane is someone that's going to be there. Obviously, we've had this New Japan involvement. Carl Anderson being there. There's been rumored interest that WWE would love to have Kairi Sane back in WWE. I don't think that's going to happen at this point, but Kairi Sane is one I think that will definitely be a surprise entrant. But like you said, if it was Mercedes Moné came in there, I mean, that's a game changer. I mean, I did a video for this yesterday. I gave it a chance of 2 out of 10 because I don't think it's happening, and I've been someone that's been advocating for it to happen, but I would love if it did. I agree as well. Beth Phoenix makes so much sense as well. I'm going to say Cora Jade from NXT as well. I can just imagine Michael Cole having that. This is our top prospect from NXT. We mentioned the idea of Sasha Banks there. I think the internal idea is that she's meant to be the next Sasha Banks, so I could see a Cora Jade certainly being in that spot. And you mentioned the likes there, Oscar already, Lacey Evans. They're probably some of the names I could throw out there for you. But Carl, you have your finger up, so I'm going to go to you first.
I just wanted to throw this your guys' way as a thought for number 30, and this plays into surprise entrance. What about Naomi?
Perfect.
See, Kyle, you just did that. Yeah, I've done it to you.
I had to get you back.
You just did it. I literally was just looking at him like, I hope he doesn't.
Why not? You know?
So yeah, I mean that's somebody too, because they've been saying that, and that would be the thing, especially if you feel the glow and the music and the lights go out, especially if the lights go out at first. You're not going to know who it is. because it could be anybody. And then all of a sudden the music hits. We're all going to be sitting here on the live stream. Whoever is live and everybody, poor Steve will be sleeping, but we'll text him and wake him up. And, you know, I mean, like I think that would be something that would be absolutely great to see. Would be Naomi, because that would be something like the surprise factor that we're hoping for. But do we really think it could ever really happen? And then what is she going to do next? Could she be the woman in the bloodline? Could she join the bloodline? Could she do this and that? So you did it to me, Kyle. You got me back.
You're welcome.
Charlotte versus Naomi, WrestleMania. Charlotte being Charlotte, Naomi being a part of the bloodline. That could be interesting. I like the idea. I love the idea of the music starting for her, and then it transitioned into like a something like the Usos theme or something, just something to let you know that she's bloodline, she's back, and she means business. She's at the top. I think it's an awesome idea. The idea of Naomi coming back into that spot, particularly 30, I think would be pretty awesome. I just hope that the fans would be screaming, "We want Sasha," because I think Naomi does deserve better than that. But Tino, what's some of the other names?
And that's the thing is, I hope, because like I feel like there's like a lot of things, like I feel like people are going to be very disappointed if a lot of these things don't happen, because and that's why I said like temper the expectations, because we're saying these things, but if it doesn't happen, you don't want to be sitting there and you're going to be upset, because then you're all hyped up, you're all excited, and then you're just going to be let down. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like we all hope these things, and that's why I feel like with Cody, like I remember with WrestleMania season, like it was like going, and it was like I was excited, but until I heard the American Nightmare song and One Royal Family, and that's when I knew it was. So that's the only thing that I just hope, I just want to say, because I just hope people, like, you know, because we could say all we want, but what's really going to happen? So, I mean, some of the people I have, though, like returns, Carmella. We haven't seen Carmella in a while.
Good shout.
She's been gone for a while. I had Naomi, I had Asuka, and then some of the legends I had Candice Michelle. She said, and there's been a few of the girls like Michelle, McCool. There's been a few of them that said they haven't got the call. So let's be real here. They got the call. They're trying to put us somewhere, and they're trying to, I don't know if I believe all that. And then with the biggest thing is NXT. I think we're going to see a lot of NXT. I think we're going to see Cora. I think we'll see Roxanne. I think we'll see Zoe Starks. I think we would have seen Nikita if she didn't tear her ACL and is out for as long as she is at NXT. Yeah. They wrote her off TV and she's out. So sadly, we won't see Nikita. But I think Nikita, maybe Katana and Kaden. Toxic Attraction. We've seen Katana chance as Casey in one of them. I think it was like 2018 or 2019. Yeah, so I think this is going to be a very, Tiffany Stratton is another one. I think this is going to be a very heavy NXT one too, especially with Triple H. Is I think he's going to want to get them out there a little bit, because you know, and that's the thing. Like as the women's Royal Rumbles have definitely gotten better. The first one, I'll be honest, that was not a very good Royal Rumble. It just felt like they were all rolling out of the ring. They didn't know what to do, but it's definitely gotten better. So. I mean, Sol Ruco, I see in the comments. I think Diana Panazzo, I think I see a couple people in there. But,
I'll try and catch up. We've got so many comments in. I'll try and find some of this.
No, I know. I looked over and I saw Sol Ruco. But yeah, she's another one in NXT.
I think she's probably check the comments.
So she's been,
I was going to say, I have a name, but it might not be breaking news from the comments.
Boy, yeah, I mean, that's who I have. Like you said, like Toxic Attraction and stuff like that. So I think it is definitely going to be like heavy NXT too.
Absolutely.
So. Those are all the girls I got, though.
I'm going to bring some comments up because I've got a funny feeling that it could be impossible to get through all of them. There's about 30 of them there. We've got a Royal Rumble of comments, so I will do my best there for you. But I totally agree with a lot of the comments you said. There's certainly ideas. I just want to add two more names in there. Indy Hartwell potentially could be one. I don't know if that's in the chat there already. If it is, apologies to whoever said it first. And Wendy Chu. I think Wendy Chu is a character that could work. She seems to know her identity, and I think that she's not going to be an NXT Women's Champion anytime soon. Could be a good way to actually introduce her to a main roster audience.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to get this name out there too, because I'm not seeing it in the comment section.
Go for it.
What about Billie Kay?
Love it. Love it.
She's got so much personality. She's not working for Impact anymore. Obviously, Cassie Lee is her real name, I believe. Peyton Royce, formerly known as in the WWE. She just had the baby, so she couldn't wrestle. But Billie Kay would be a slam dunk, in my opinion.
Yeah, she'd be awesome to be, especially brings
that
resume
back.
Up,
down too recently. She's been doing stuff for Xavier Woods on his channel, so possibly.
Absolutely. Randy says, "Is it me or is the Rumble for the women is unpredictable? Same for the men, but we'll see." I think that there is some unpredictable points here, but I think we're at the point where we're ready to probably go for our picks. So, Tino, the way I do it, you can either give us a couple of names, like 2 names maybe, or if you can, give us your top choice now and your backup pick.
So I think, because this is the one that I'm having the most challenge on. I don't know who's going to win. I really don't. Because I really hope that, like right now, I want to go with Rhea to win. Mommy. I think Rhea could possibly win. And that's what I hope is going to happen. But my backup, I feel like it could be like Becky or somebody or like that, where it's going to be like, you know, like they want like the bigger star because more people are like, they demand Becky Lynch. She's this, like, you know, or, you know, like, or we talked about Bianca possibly losing and then winning it and something like that. So I think I feel like it's right around there. I feel like maybe we'll see like a Beth Phoenix in the final 4 or 5, but I don't think we're going to see anything like crazy that we're really not expecting. I think, like I said, we'll see a lot of returns that have a moment and they get that little pop and everything. But I mean, it should come down to the people that are actually involved. And I think Rhea Ripley, I think that match she had with Charlotte and everything was okay, but I think she definitely would benefit from it, like having that moment at WrestleMania in front of fans and everything. Because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that the one in the pandemic that she fought Rhea or Charlotte?
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to take Rhea to win. And I think she's also, I don't know if you guys feel this, do you guys feel like she's the leader at Judgment Day?
Yes, 100%.
So, yeah. Okay. Because I was, because that's the thing is I feel like with her, she's gotten Dominic over. She's done so much that it's time to give her a little, like, you know, here's your win. Get it. Go get it. And I think she'd take it and run.
I wouldn't even be surprised if Rhea enters the men's match as well at this rate. She's.
I mean, we've seen it happen more than in the last 5 years. I feel like we've seen it happen more than we saw it happen in the first 20.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or however long it's been on. I forget. What are we at? 35 years? 34? Whatever. What is it?
I mean, if you count the Greatest Royal Rumble as well, there's been a lot of them. But Kyle, let's put you then out there. If 2 names right now, if you had to put your money, you don't have to put them in an order because, like you said, at this point, it's really tough for you to sort of go with a 1 at this point, and maybe you'll be put under that spotlight when you're live later this evening. But what 2 names are you thinking right now?
Can I give you 4?
You can give me 4. I'd prefer 3 at the most.
Okay, 3. I'll give you 3. I just don't want to give out too much, spoilers just because of my show a little bit. But I think Rhea Ripley's definitely a favorite. Rhea versus Bianca's money. They've teased it in backstage segments. I think that's a money match. So Rhea's got to be up there. Bayley makes a lot of sense to me as well. The leader of a faction. She was unsuccessful in getting the title, but maybe if she wins a Rumble, she can win it at WrestleMania. And I think a sleeper is Raquel Gonzalez, just because she's been featured a lot on SmackDown. It's a fresh challenger for Charlotte Flair. I wouldn't be too thrilled for the match itself. I don't think it would be, spectacular by any means, but I think a good dark horse would be Raquel. So those are 3 names I'm looking at right now on the women's side.
Interesting stuff indeed there. I'm going to stick my neck out them. I don't know if it'll be a popular one or not, but I'm going to go for Becky Lynch as the winner. I think that she, to go for a championship match, I think would be main event, and I think that would certainly fit. You still have a chance then of doing Becky versus Ronda if you want to do that match, or if you want to go for Bianca again. Rhea Ripley could even win the Raw Women's Championship between now and then. You could do Becky versus Rhea at WrestleMania, so the possibilities are there. I still also wouldn't rule out this idea, and I know it's not going to be a popular one, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got a repeat of Charlotte, Ronda, and Becky at WrestleMania this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that again. But my backup is going to be Rhea Ripley. My reasoning for her being the backup is that she's still intertwined with so many different storylines with Dominic Mysterio, for example. You mentioned the Judgment Day already. I think for Rhea, Beth could be the reason she doesn't win the Royal Rumble. I think they could have a match at WrestleMania or a mixed tag team match at WrestleMania. And I think that Rhea Ripley, her time is going to come after Mania. I think she will be someone that will be a champion in the summer this year. I think perhaps around Money in the Bank, SummerSlam time, her time will be here. So that's my reasoning for it. But we've got so many chats come in. The reason I couldn't go for them is because some of them are questions, and if I go past them, I won't find them again. So I'm going to be honest with it. Marcel says, do you think we'll get Impact Knockouts Championship? Mickey James in the Rumble 2 years in a row would be nice. I'd love to see it, but I don't think it's going to happen personally, Tino.
Oh, about
Mickey James.
Mickey James. I mean, I think it is a possibility. I definitely have heard a lot of people say that, like a possibility of her being in it. But again, like I just don't. I feel like there's like I feel like there's so many people that could be, but there's only 20. There's 30 spots or 26 now, 23. However, 7 people announced. So I feel like there's like I feel like she could be, but I wouldn't be surprised if she isn't because they're gonna want to focus on more of like the other people and they want to give the spotlight, you know. But I wouldn't be surprised at all. That's why I'm saying like I'm trying to like see. I'm trying to like temper. I don't know who. I'm just trying. I want to wait and see what they do.
Absolutely. Kyle?
Yeah, I don't think we need to see it again. I think it was just a one-time thing. It was a good moment in time. But if you do it repeatedly year after year, it kind of loses its luster. So I'll say no.
I kind of agree with that, and I think Kairi Sane would be the one that would take that spot if they get it this year. Different champion, different company, and I think that they could make a big thing of that. KXI says, back over to see Rhea Oscar. It'd be weird if Beth Phoenix returned after getting badly injured, just for her to be eliminated by Rhea. That's certainly a way they could still go with it, though, but perhaps Rhea is eliminated by Beth. It's been a few months now since Extreme Rules. We said in September, but it was the start of October. It's time. It could be time. We start to build WrestleMania. I think we'll talk about Edge. I've got a feeling he probably will return as well, so we'll just say that nice and early. But Jonathan says Bianca retains and Alexa the SmackDown, so that seems to be quite popular there. Edward asking who's Howdy. Just check any recent episode of SmackDown for the last couple of months. You'll be clued in, I'm pretty sure. Jonathan saying Kana to just debut at the Rumble. That would be quite cool to see that change of character as well.
That would be fun. I couldn't think of the name.
Absolutely. WWE, they have to pull the trigger on Rhea. She's organically become one of the most popular start in the women's division besides Bianca. And like I say, it does feel like the big money match, doesn't it? Rhea versus Bianca, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. And like I said, WWE, his first match actually as a wrestler, he won the Rumble. We're taking his word to the bank. Jonathan says, you're right, SCW, Whacking Wild could save just like he did, Otis did for Mandy. Well, I mean, probably need both of them actually, because Otis is he's got a bit more stake in him, doesn't he?
Beefy boy.
He is indeed. Steak and weights, baby. He seems to be going back in that direction as well. Okay, so I don't know why, but I think it'll be Liv Morgan for number 1. Edward actually don't think that Rhea doesn't deserve a title shot. Interesting take, though. Edward, I'd love you to clarify why. I think there's a fascinating topic there. Nuben Co says Liv Morgan number 1, Rhea Ripley number 2. Former partners face off against each other. I like that, Noob. That's a fun idea. Yeah, I like it. Jonathan going number 1, Liv, 2, Lita, and 30. Well, not sure at this point. Bama goes Liv Morgan number 1. It seems to be a very popular. Everyone thinks Liv Morgan could be getting that spot. Sarah Logan or Valhalla at number 2. Liking that philosophy as well.
Valhalla in there too.
The history there as well. It could be a riot, you could say, Bama. I'll let myself out.
I understood that one.
Trish Stratus at number 30 sounds fun there. Mickey James number 2, Liv number 1 for DWE. So again, Mickey James is going to be in the Rumble then, as DWE has said it. Marcel says Liv at number 1, Sonya number 2, Rhea Ripley at number 30, and she will kill everyone. Rhea Ripley, I think, will get a lot of eliminations there. I think you're right. KXI says, I feel Rhea could come out at like 20. I don't know, but it's just me. To me, low-key, overusing Rhea, starting to feel like shoved and forced now. Oh, over pushing. There we go. Another one there for Rhea Ripley. Interesting, because some people feel maybe it's not her time. It's interesting. We seem to be quite in the panel all for it, but we'll have to wait and see. Nubico number 30 is definitely going to be Asuka, because we want that moment from Royal Rumble 2008, John Cena showing up after a month. It would be fun, especially if Asuka did come back as Kana. I think that would be even better, it would be bigger. But certainly for me, Asuka, if she does and probably does return, I'd like her sort of a journey person. I'd like her early to mid. Personally, for me, Edward, who's Matt Cardona? Zack Ryder. Chelsea Green teased back with Robert Stone. Oh dear Lord, is all I'm going to say about that. But Jonathan says Mickey and Aldis. We'll be talking about.
Aldis is a good one.
It's a very good one. Tiffany Stratton and Saraya from NXT, or better yet, Miko. Love Miko Satomura. That would be a fantastic show.
I forgot about Miko.
Noob, you've put one out there. I think that's going to be very popular with the panel here. Bama says, Tino, yes, 3, 2, 1, the lights go up, wait for it, bring to the flow, hit the music and the lights, and the goes nuts. Welcome back, Naomi. Absolutely. Diana Perazzo is then mentioned there, like you said there. I'd love to see her in the Rumble. Sol Ruka, Tiffany Stratton. Any chance Triple H has repaired the relationship and we see Mandy Rose? A question there.
I mean,
like it as
maybe,
well.
but after she's giving out free content, I mean, she's probably making bank. Does she really need?
Oh, she's catching the bag right now.
Bro, she's giving away free. You got 24 hours to go on that for free. All you gotta do is sign up and everything.
You sound like you signed up. Got him.
Damn, Kyle.
Already got
trying to
You can send me the link after the show.
Okay, I'll let you know before your show.
There's a chance. There's always a chance, Bama. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Wendy Chu for the comedy spot certainly wouldn't.
Maybe the pillow will save her.
That's a great concept of saving her in the Rumble. I like that.
I definitely enjoyed her. Now that I know that she was that creepy girl with like Zion Quinn or whatever, I want that person back. That scared the hell out of me. But now I know who it is. Let's do it.
I prefer Wendy Chu of the two characters personally, but that's just me. Akana as Asuka. I know the fans on Twitter want Asuka back, but the women's division needs Asuka. We need to settle the score with Charlotte. One more time with Charlotte there. Rick laughed at something you said there, Kyle. I'm not quite sure what it was, but I'm sure it was good. In the terms of picks, Hart picked Charlotte Flair to pick Bianca for her opponent. Sleeper pick Liv Morgan. My head pick is Rhea Ripley. I like the way that you've used those picks there. If I had a sleeper pick, I don't know, really. I probably will. As Tina told you, I don't always survive these shows, so probably I wouldn't tell you to the morning. Rick says Indy potentially to come there. Nia Jax's name that's been put in here as well. There.
No, thank you.
Shush, please.
We got a Chad Gable there for us. About Lana. Lana's been thrown out there as well.
I forgot about Lana. Did you guys think, because about Kyle's point, do you guys think we could see Damage Control turn on each other in this match and have Bayley turn and eliminate both of them? And then that's how she possibly wins. And then she's like, I don't need you. I'm going to get my title. You guys stick with the useless tag titles because still not doing nothing with them. True. But that was something I just wanted to ask you guys. What do you guys think about, like, possibly, like, how do you guys feel about Damage Control?
I think it's going to be the other way around. I think that the tag champions are going to realize that Bayley has not been pulling away. And it's something I've been meaning to get round to for a long time. But as you know, guys, the videos haven't been coming out. But I actually think it'll be a triple threat between those three at WrestleMania.
Why don't we see that? Like, when was, like, you mentioned, like, the match between, like, why can't we just see, like, a normal, like, women's feud like we saw with Mickey and Trish and stuff like that? Would be so great to watch. Just, we don't need a title on everything. Like, why can't we just see good rivalries with good stories between women just hate each other for some reason, or this guy, or they hate this guy together, you know? I'm sure they could come up with something that don't need a title.
Totally agree. We need more stories rather than just championships. Championships take over too much, in my opinion. Bama says, love Becky to win, but if they go for Becky versus Ronda, I need that to be a non-titled blood feud at Mania. Again, going with feud, not title. So it seems to be a popular opinion there. So timing sometimes works really well with the chat. It's interesting. Even if we're later, we can fit it at the right moment. Here's a twist. We had Nia enter the men's rumble. How about Mansoor enters the women's and gets destroyed by the women? I mean, we had Santina Morella a year or two ago, and that was brutally painful for me. I personally don't want to see it, but that's just me personally.
Oh my God, no, please. I don't want to see anybody dressed up as a man. I don't want to see anybody like, why? Like, come on. Like, I just can't. It's
fashion though, Tino. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe Maxine doesn't take the role and says, look, there we go. We've got the catwalk.
Maybe they both come out. Maybe that's when we'll know Vince is back in charge, is when they bring out the red carpet like they did for Melina and Maximum Male Models come out.
If they do that catwalk, then we won't need the entrances for the Royal Rumble. They'll take 13 minutes getting down to the ring. It'll be longer than Heath Slater probably back in the day.
They'll just come out and beat the crap out of them until they finally get in the ring.
Absolutely. Kyle.
It would be funny, though, to watch, like, Rhea throw one of the Maximum Male Models into the crowd or something.
Yeah, that could be quite fun, actually. Yeah, I'll tell you, if Rhea gets her hands on him, then totally go for it. But, Kyle, what do you think about mixing up in the Rumble matches?
Yeah, there's a time and place for it. I just don't think this is the time and place for that. We've seen it before. And once again, I don't need to see it again. But I do think the Maximum Male Models are doing some very entertaining stuff on social media. If you follow WWE on their Twitter account, they tweet out like episodes. I forgot what they're called, but give them a look.
Oh,
I can probably find it, but yeah, you can go.
God.
You can move on.
As soon as you say it, I'm gonna. Oh.
could be like the new fashion files of the day. I'd need to probably go check
That's exactly what it is. It's the making it maximum with Massey. Mansoor. You have to check that out if you haven't. I'm talking to everybody watching right now.
They're so funny.
But stay here for now. But yeah, do it afterwards.
After.
Imagine we just
put it in the queue. Put it in the queue.
We're trying, put it in the queue, absolutely. Nubicosa's pick is Rhea Ripley because she might get to face Bianca, but a backup pick, Asuka, because she's got the character development, possibly facing Charlotte story-wise and character-wise. Loving that as well. Jay Stone, one of highly unlikely numbers is we get AJ Lee return.
I'm running. Let's go. We grabbing the let's go. Let's go.
I'm in.
I'm down for it. I would cry. I would literally cry. I love AJ Lee. The fact that
she was great.
She's one of those that I'm saying 30th entrant. You don't we're sitting here and we're thinking it's Ronda or something like that, and they shock us. That's something, especially because I wanted to ask you guys, and I know it's kind of going a little bit longer, but how would you guys do these matches? Which Royal Rumble would you start with and end with? Would you do the women's first, the men's first?
Currently, I would probably go with the women's first. I know that's been the common theme, hasn't it, for the last few years since the first one. I just think with this year, I think with the men's, there is potential for a lot of there's storytelling for both. Look, but I mean, when you got the idea of the men's, everyone's talking, does The Rock come back? I mean, we're talking about Cody Rhodes. We're talking about Sami Zayn's story as well. Like you said, Kevin Owens could show up. There is a lot of possibilities, and I'm sure we're going to get more surprises in there, which we're going to talk about shortly. Perhaps the likes of a Brock Lesnar, for example. So there's so much there with that men's Rumble match. So I think that one hits it. But this is the sort of thing, though, that could make people interested of the idea of that being a main event spot, because hell, AJ Lee, it's a big time deal, it's a big time move, and like you say, would be really on board if they could make it happen, but it's a big if.
And after 45 minutes too, I feel like that would get the energy back into people, literally the lightning behind me literally would electrocute you back, and you'd be hyped up again, because it is a long show, and the Royal Rumble is a long match. As exciting as it is still you know what I mean, it does get so I think that's the other thing too. They got to keep the surprises in between to keep everybody into it as through the whole hour, however long it may be.
Absolutely, he's picking your spots and picking your moments. And Mickey James with that shock will be a great mania story. Just not sure the loss would end the last rodeo. Great stream, gents. Thank you, West Coast Popcast. And like I say, I'm enjoying that Mickey James storyline. It's good to have you guys in the house. We've got Terrell Key says Rhea's my pick. Becky, a crazy outcome. We love a crazy outcome. Thank you for your comment. Thanks for checking out the stream. Kate says I just don't like how Rhea's been stepping up to so many males. It was cool at first, but they keep doing it, and now we know the males aren't going to hit us, so why are you doing it? It's just my personal take. I suppose, like you said, it's almost like Kyle said a minute ago there. You said the idea of we've seen it, do we need to keep seeing it? Rhea keeps doing it every week. We know that they're not going to do the intergender stuff. Even when they do the matches, I mean, Tozawa had a match with her, didn't get a move in at all. If they're not going to do it, does it take away after a while?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do something. I mean, we saw it back in when they used to do it. I mean, the women they still tried, but I mean, you got to I feel like you have to at least have some type of offense in to make it just not one-sided in a squash, because that's pretty much what it is. They're going out there beating the shit out of these little jobbers that they took out of the 24/7 title picture.
Absolutely,
it doesn't exist anymore. Thank God.
No, Kyle, you'll be good on sales apparently.
Funny thing is, what I do for a living is sell alcohol. So you got that right. I am a liquor sales consultant. So you nailed it, Rick Joe.
Damn.
I think we're going to hit up Kyle straight. Kyle, you're going to sort us out some Stone Cold beer at the end of this. I think.
I'll tell you what, I got some new Proper 12 Apple ready for St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to give everybody a bottle that's watching this stream right now.
I love it. I love it indeed. But what did Kyle? Man, if I'm Hunter, announce Lashley versus Brock, no holds barred match. Put them in the men's rumble like the old days, and that would be fun if they were to do such a thing. That would be quite a good idea there. Batman says, what if Rhea enters the men's rumble, she gets in Edge's face, and then Beth is behind her from the crowd? That's an interesting thought. I like that's the way they could do it as well. There's certainly be something different. I believe the rodeo ended with her winning the title. Was I wrong about that? Unfortunately, I've not seen anything since Hard to Kill, Bama, so I couldn't tell you if the story with that is finished or not. But if someone does know, let us know in the chat with me.
She did win the title. Yeah,
she won the title. Yeah, but I don't know if that rodeo story is still going. She loses.
I think she retired as champion or something. She left as champion, because they were talking about that, because they were saying that she just left something. I don't know. I listened to some sports guys in the morning. They started talking about wrestling for some reason all of a sudden. So
I like it.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
Yeah.
And Marcel, the last coming in from the women's, Roxanne Perez from NXT. That would be a great shout. Of course, the champion trying to go for one of the main titles has been on SmackDown previously as well. Well, I'll tell you what, it's time for me to talk really quickly because we're going to move on to the men's match, our final main event match of the stream.
Let's go.
So, yes, we've got the likes of Omos, Santos Escobar, Sheamus, Bobby Lashley, Ricochet, Seth freaking Rollins, Rey Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, Baron Corbin, Austin Theory, Kofi Kingston, Gunther, Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre, and Karrion Kross. We got the names in there in the nick of time there. That's what we know so far there for the men's Royal Rumble match. The rest, it's all a mystery at this point. But I imagine the likes of Sammy and the Bloodline will probably be in there. You mentioned KO earlier, potentially could be in this match. Maybe the Street Profits certainly could be a shout for the match as well. We expect we'll get some surprises in there as well, perhaps from NXT, some legends also. There's been big talks of like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Lesnar returned on Raw, so I'm guessing he possibly could be a shoo-in for the Rumble match as well. So let's dive straight into it, and we're going to start off in the same way as we did the last time. Kyle, I'm going to ask you your excitement for the men's Royal Rumble match.
It's gonna be a boring answer, but it's still a 10 out of 10. I think there's definitely your favorites, and there's, like you said, the possibility of big names like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and there's other names out there I don't want to spoil because I'm sure we'll talk about surprises. I got a few, but yeah, it's definitely a 10 out of 10 for me.
Absolutely, and of course, Tino, what's your take here?
I mean, I'm gonna say like a 9 out of 10, just because I don't want to get like I said, I just don't want to get my expectations to it. I don't want to like think The Rock's gonna show up or something like that. But I am definitely excited. I love the Royal Rumble match. We've seen the men's one for, they've been doing it forever. And I have a question for both of you. Which is your guys' favorite Royal Rumble match and least favorite Royal Rumble match?
Kyle, I'll let you start if you want.
I know my favorite is 2020, right before, COVID started and everything, with Edge's return, Drew McIntyre, Brock Lesnar starting off the Rumble, going on a rampage. Least favorite's probably last year. They're both really, recent answers. And of course, the only Royal Rumble I attended was last year's Royal Rumble. So I'll say that's my least favorite. What about you, Steve?
It's a shame that if attending it, it's the least favorite as well. I hope that the next time you get to go, you feel the complete opposite. But for me, I'm going to show me age. My favorite is 1992. Ric Flair going the distance, the Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon on commentary. If you want a story in the match, those two on commentary is absolutely brilliant. Heenan probably has one of the nights of his career on that night. For me, it's just a beautiful Royal Rumble. Anyone hasn't seen it, go and check it out. It's worth it for an hour. As least favorite Royal Rumble, I kind of agree in a way with last year, but just to be a bit different, I'm going to go with 2015. The Roman Reigns Rumble, that should have been Daniel Bryan, where fans just completely booed everything out of the building as soon as Bryan was eliminated halfway through the match. Even The Rock couldn't rescue that match. So,
and Ray was booed too, wasn't he?
He was indeed.
Yes, 30 that year, didn't he?
Actually, he actually was 2014. Actually, I think that one might have been. Yeah. I could be right, could be wrong. I don't know. But if you're right, the fans weren't happy that year either with Rey Mysterio because it wasn't Daniel Bryan. I mean, it was a Bryan era. But I'm going to go with 2015 being my least favorite for the men's there. So, about you, Tino?
I like it. I just want to ask you guys because I was just curious. But yeah, I mean, my favorite is 2006. I'm going way back. I love Rey Mysterio starting and ending, doing it for Eddie, the beginning, the storyline, everything, and just all of it. Like I just recently went back and watched it, and I still think that Rey Mysterio just being the ultimate underdog that night just proved everything. And my least favorite, I hate the Royal Rumbles that just there's people going in and out. There's people like why I like when there's a bunch of superstars. There's like 12 men in there. Everybody's battling. I don't like Brock eliminating one after one. Like, because then what's the point? We're just sitting here watching Brock eliminate people. That's not the Royal Rumble. Like, I want to see somebody. So I definitely I feel like last year's both Royal Rumbles were just not good at all, that none of us remember them. And I think that's another reason why this year is going to be so exciting and why I'm so excited for it, because last year's was so bad. So, but yeah, so I just thought it was just a different question to ask you guys, just with it being the Royal Rumble season and everything. So
I like it. And to be fair, I have a controversial one that I don't like, is 1995. Everyone says it's the best because Shawn Michaels was the first one to go from 1 to 30. It's a cluster mess. And it's like, we talk about 90 seconds or 2 minutes. It's 1 minute between every single person. And you don't know half of the names. If you watch now, it's like, who? What? Yeah. And it's an awful Rumble. The finish is iconic. It's in the top 3 moments of Rumble history. But without that moment, it would be the worst Rumble ever. And that's
the thing. Like a lot of these like have had really good moments, but the Rumbles like haven't been good. Like 2008, we had the John Cena return. That I think that was a good one. We had like the returns of Roddy Piper, Jimmy Snuka, and stuff like that.
Brilliant.
And like all the stuff that I like, and the stuff like that. But we've also had good, like, I feel like we had good Royal Rumble pay-per-views, but awful matches. Awful, like, you know what I mean? We're like, it just, hopefully we find a good balance this year.
I like it. I like the idea of the balance. I'm going through some of the people's favorites there. 2020 being a favorite there, and last year is the least favorite. So shares yours. Sentiments there, Kyle as well there. Heart pick. Roman Reigns is the pick here. So we're going with a couple of predictions as well. Then sleeper pick Seth Rollins. Head pick is The Rock. 2020 the favorite because of Edge's return. It was beautiful. And West Coast Podcast here saying as well, Sammy for the win while he's so hot. Cody's journey, maybe next year's long-term story. Cody and Sammy being the last two. And we've also got Terrell's least favorite was last year. Well, there we go. Well, let's go into the match then. Let's talk about this quickly. We talked about earlier on the bloodline at the start of the stream. I'm quickly going to say my piece. I think Sammy was, like I said, will have an accidental moment with Roman in the title match. I think he accidentally eliminates Jey Uso. I think that's going to start the cracks there with Sammy and the Usos as well, where he actually gets kicked out of the bloodline come the following SmackDown to build for Elimination Chamber. I have to ask as well, guys, Sammy, we talk about a couple of the favorites, not necessarily giving them predictions on it, but just your thoughts on it. If Sammy was to come into this match, do you think the fans are going to be chanting for him like a Daniel Bryan, Kyle?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the reaction he's been getting, that organic crowd. You know, everybody in every segment is chanting for Sammy. They're chanting Usi just because that's what Sammy says. So I think he's definitely going to be loved in the Royal Rumble. For me, he's got to be one of the favorites. So yeah, I definitely can see him being cheered in this Rumble.
Absolutely. Tino?
Yeah, and I think Roman has said he don't want to see him until Royal Rumble. I think Sammy's going to show up and be like, listen, you're in the Royal Rumble. And maybe, what if Roman says you have to enter one? What if Sammy's the one that has to be 1 or 2? Because that's his punishment, and he has to prove to the bloodline that he can survive and get to a certain point in the Royal Rumble. We've seen that happen before with people where, like, they got to prove. Or I remember I think it was 2006 where Vince kept trying to get people to eliminate Shawn. So maybe it's like Sammy's got to stay in it instead of, you know. But, I mean, I definitely think, I think it would be great. I love Sammy. I think everybody, you know, I think it would be awesome to see. And I think he could be like I think there's a few people that could be like the Iron Woman and Iron Man of the Royal Rumbles too. That will last about like 45, 50 minutes.
I think there's certainly a possibility in the men's match that we're going to get that for sure. Bama Chatter says Sammy for the final four. Sure, I think Jay will be as well. If Roman enters at 30, Steve knows what I want to happen. Absolutely. This was a very big popular talking point the other day, Bam. If you want to go in more detail, because I think you can articulate it better than I could. I want you to give that full detail just for the other guys, just to fill them in. But certainly the idea of Sammy potentially not being heartbroken by the bloodline, but actually being the one to say standing up to the bloodline, I think is beautiful. But Bama, if you get a chance, write it articulately like you can, because I will then put it over to the guys. But whilst we do that, I want to talk about Cody Rhodes very quickly. Cody Rhodes obviously returning at the Rumble. Rhodes to the Rumble, as they say. A lot of people think it's a foregone conclusion. We're going to get Rhodes versus Roman at WrestleMania. Cody, do we see him as the journeyman? He put the tweet out saying just number 3 or just 3. Is that a little hint? You know, what's going on with Cody? Is he someone that's going to be in and around at the end of this match?
I mean, I think, like I just mentioned with the Iron Person, like I think he could possibly be one of them. He's been gone since June. He hasn't been in performance. He has been training. He looks like he's in better shape than he was before, which I'm crazy. I don't know how these guys make their bodies come back like they do. It's ridiculous. So what if he wants to go out there? He's like, I want to prove myself. I've been gone. I want this. Let me go out there number 3 or 4. Because in reality, 90 seconds is not much compared to 1 and 2. And I feel like 1 and 2 are the same. You're just different entrances and stuff like that, you know? You're going to make your entrance. And maybe what if they do want to make him 1 or 2 and they have the entrance because they want him to do the entrance again? And so, I mean, that is a possibility because I'm assuming we're going to do the 1 and 2 and 30 again. So, I think we could see Cody enter number 1, and I think he could very well. I think it would be because, you know.
It would make a lot of sense if Cody is Cody. It does seem that kind of story, doesn't it? But Kyle, what's your thoughts of Cody Rhodes returning at the Rumble? Obviously, again, has to be a heavy favorite.
Ever since he got injured, I think everybody knew the timetable was the Royal Rumble for his return, which is why I wasn't really frustrated with them announcing that he is going to be in the Rumble, because I think everybody that is in the know or is a smart mark like us knew Cody was going to be ready for the Royal Rumble. So no doubt about it, I think he is the favorite. He's got to be the betting favorite because just the story writes itself. You have Cody Rhodes, who's fighting for his family in his first world heavyweight title in WWE, going against, Roman Reigns in the Bloodline. So I think he is definitely the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I've not checked the bookies, but a lot of people that I see everywhere, that I look on Twitter, it's always Cody. So it feels like he's definitely a heavy favourite coming back. In fact, some people think it's that predictable that Cody's going to win it. I'm not so sure, but we're going to talk about a few other names there. But quickly, as we go through it as well, over Denise in the house, thank you for checking us over. He says Sammy will have his moment, won't be in the final four. Marcel already giving his takes of who we think will be 1, 2, and 30. Cody, Seth, and Jey Uso. I like that. Sammy to be in the final four with Jey as well. Roman enforces Sammy not to participate in the Rumble, liking that. Here we go. Bama articulating it as beautifully as I know he can. Roman enters at 30 so he can pick the challenger for Mania. He tells Sammy to eliminate himself to show loyalty, but Sammy won't do it. Roman tells Jey to eliminate him. Jey does, and Jey eliminates himself. It's a beautiful storytelling. I do prefer, as I said in the stream the other day, I do prefer someone actually winning the Rumble to get their shot at Mania, but still think that as a storytelling with the Bloodline and what they've done, this would work quite articulate and would be quite beautiful as well. Tina, what's your thoughts on Bama's idea here?
What if that happens, and we've seen it happen before? What if there's somebody laying out on the side? Laying outside, somebody gets knocked out, if it's Cody, if it's Seth, if it's this and that. What if somebody gets knocked out and Roman thinks he's won, but there's really like 2 or 3 people and they're all just laying out, and Roman thinks he won, and Seth or Cody eliminate him, and, something like Santino or something like, we've seen people do it before, where guys lay out in the ring, they're taking a nap, they get a little rest, and then they come back and they do some damage. So what if he's right on that, except, but the only thing I'll say is I'm so tired of Roman entering the Rumble at 30. He's done it, 2 or 3 times at this point? Like, I feel like Roman being in the Rumble is just like, what would, like, because then if Kevin's in the Rumble, then you just took 2 spots from 2 people that could have been surprises or something. If that's the only thing I don't like about the people that are competing and then being in the Rumble. It's like you're taking away spots of people that could have been, and it just, I don't know. So that's the only thing I don't like about that, but if it does happen, that's how I possibly would do it, because, like you said, we have to have a winner of the Rumble. I don't think Roman winning is going to satisfy people. Like, you have to, like, we don't want a Philly situation again where everybody's getting booed the hell out and Rock's got to try to save it. Because then what? They're going to bring The Rock out again and try to, because then that's what they, So, that's how I feel about that. But I think it's a good idea. I don't know.
It does seem like a good idea, but definitely some good takes as well, Tino. Kyle, what's your thoughts?
You guys pretty much summed it up pretty well. I'd like to just see, an organic, natural winner. But that is a good story that Bama is telling there. I mean, if they did do something like that, it makes sense storyline-wise, but I would like to see it go in a different direction.
Yeah, that's fair play. And Bama just goes and say if it does happen, Roman wins, and then The Rock goads him into a match, and both sides will stay on Roman until it's time for Cody to chase them. So that's the story there. Bama, I think it's a beautiful story. We'll see if it plays out. Even if we say, I like it, I still want a winner, but, I'm not going to complain either way. Jake says, what if Beth and Rhea eliminate each other and we get Beth, Rhea, and Bianca for the women's title at WrestleMania? Would be fun, adds to the story, but, I mean, Beth doesn't need to be in the title match at this stage for me.
With the men, too. With this too, with that, like I'm saying, they eliminate each other. What if we see Bobby and Brock eliminate each other?
Interesting. You mentioned
Tino,
that
you did it again.
Did I?
They were my 1 and 2, and I said that. No, I'm just saying for the future. Yeah.
Well, Tina, you put a report to me that Zero News, not the most credible source in the world, but that they could be 1 and 2. But if they were 1 and 2, Kyle, I think that would actually be a great way to do it, because you mentioned there about your favorite Rumble being 2020 and Brock eliminating everybody. What if they were 1 and 2 and Bobby eliminates him within 30 seconds?
That's what was going to be my, prediction for 1 and 2. I just think you get big beanie men bumping meat, go at it right away. If they eliminate each other at the same time, that's fine with me too. Just get 2 powerhouses out of the way, because they're so focused and frustrated with one another. Bobby mad that he cost him the U.S. title, that it just spills out outside of the Royal Rumble, and they're just gone, and they're not even involved in the rest. So I think that's a good way to start off this year's Royal Rumble.
I love it because if that number 3 spot it's so open for people you can bring in, you can have like Elias do a concert, you can have Chad Gable shushing everybody, maybe shushing the 10 count, stop people with counting, and maybe have Cody come out and do an emotional return speech.
Yeah, there we go.
Isn't it? It's all there and open. I like those ideas. Are those your official 1 and 2s then?
Yes, that'll be my 1 and 2, Brock and Bobby.
I like it. Tino?
I'm going to go my 1 and 2 just because, like I mentioned with like Cody and stuff like that. I'm going to say that with the standoff, and maybe if they want to do it again, maybe we see Seth and Cody started off.
Yeah.
Because we see, them, they haven't seen each other since Hell in the Cell and everything like that. And Seth comes out and he does his thing and he's all ready and dancing. And then just like WrestleMania, the lights go off. And, yes, it is kind of like WrestleMania. Maybe they don't want to do that. But, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like they want to give Cody that entrance. So I feel like it's going to be like a later. It's going to be something where the lights are going to go out and he's going to get that. Because I don't see him just running out there. You
need that pyro too. You got to get the pyro.
Like, like Bray Wyatt too, like they did without what they did on Raw 30, where the lights went out and he still came out. They obviously didn't use the door, but I feel like it's going to be something like that. So I'm going to say Cody and Seth started off.
I hate to be a broken record, Tina, but I'm going to copy your answer. I think Cody and Seth will start it off. I think Seth will be number 1. I think Cody will be number 2. I think that's the way they'll introduce, like I said, the big pyro with Seth waiting in the ring, almost with glee in his eyes. I'm like, oh, you're back, are you? You want to come for this one more time? I like that sort of idea there because Seth has been so cocky of late. I'd like them to sort of fight in and around, perhaps in like the arenas and stuff like that as well. I know that they're both sort of baby faces, but go out of the match, go to the back, work their way back, and just to incorporate your idea, Kyle, as well. I'd like the idea if then people came out and then Lesnar came out, eliminated a load of people, Lashley come out and then eliminated him. So that's your first sort of 10 entrance sorted. Then Lesnar destroys Lashley, eliminates him. Then you can get Cody and Seth coming back through the crowd, back into the ring, and there you go. They've had actually a mini break then from the match, really, but we thought they'd be fighting the whole time. I think there could be a good structured way to build that match together.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let's go with number 30 then. Kyle, I mean, you gave the 1 and 2 first, so what's your number 30?
This seems like a boring pick. I will say The Rock. I think the Stone Cold news is just trying to, get people off track here. I do believe The Rock will show up. Like Tino's been saying, though, don't get your hopes up because it's not a guarantee that it's going to happen. But I'm going to say number 30. It'll be The Rock. And a surprise I want to see, I don't know if we're going to get to it, is Pat McAfee as well. I don't think he'll be number 30, but we need Pat McAfee in the Royal Rumble. Oh, my God.
I was going to say it because I watch him every day. And
McAfee.
He's kind of been mentioning it. He kind of talks about wrestling a little bit. So I'm praying that this man is in there somewhere.
We need him.
And then he can come back on SmackDown, and then we could, I mean,
he was my favorite commentator in wrestling when he had that run with SmackDown.
Oh, he's so great. And do you watch his show on YouTube?
I watch daily, because my boy Aaron Rodgers is on that show on Tuesdays.
That's right. Aaron Tuesdays, or Rodgers Tuesdays.
Rogers Tuesdays,
that's right.
But, I only rarely. I mean, I'm not into NFL. I know this could make me alienate half of my chat, but yeah,
that's fine
as well. I'm more of an NBA guy of the two sports, but we'll leave that there, I guess. I just follow the Knicks as well. I don't really follow everything that's going on, but it's been okay, but yeah, it's painful in places as well. But anyway, for number 30, Tino, what's your number 30?
I think it's down to 3 options. I think it's The Rock, possibly Stone Cold, possibly because I feel like that glass shatters. I feel like that pop's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Or it could be John Cena, possibly.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah.
Or my 4th option, NXT champion Braun Breaker.
Oh, interesting.
And they put him out there 30 because I feel like Roxanne and Braun and Roxanne are both going to be in the represented Rumbles. I think it's going to give them their little moment as they've done in the past with Andrade when he was a champion. They've done it in the past, so I think that's going to happen. But I think Braun, is number 30 if they don't have The Rock, because I think it has to be like The Rock or Cena or somebody like that. But if it doesn't, I think it could be like Braun Breaker.
Well, all I'm going to say is obviously, Kyle, you've already answered this one. The Rock, will he be there? Yes or no is your prediction for 30. Let's put you on there, Tino, now. Yes or no, just quickly. Rock, is he there or not?
Yeah, I think he is. I think everything that I feel like if you, like, obviously we don't know The Rock, But I feel like we've been watching The Rock for so long and like his interviews and his TV shows and everything. Like I feel like he's doing this like to play us. Like I feel like he knows. Like just like with Cody. Like do you guys ever hear that they knew for like a month and a half that Cody and it was always the plan for WrestleMania? I feel like that's something like that they're doing. Like I just feel it because why is there electricity on the logo, guys? Why is there? That was one of the reasons why I had this because I wanted to bring this up. Why is there electricity on the logo? Why is everybody like, come on? Because that was the thing. Like we talked about it with the Extreme Rules with the Bray Wyatt. You remember the lantern and everything? He ended up showing up after this Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins match, and the lantern was in there. So I don't know. I try to think about everything, but I also, again, I don't want to get my hopes up because I don't want to, if it is Braun or if it's somebody stupid, or if it's like, please don't beat Ziggler again. I remember the one year it was Ziggler, and he came
There's the record scratch, too.
Yeah, I was just
what
like,
a buzzkill.
So, yeah, and I feel like number 30 has to be somebody because, again, it is a long match and everybody has to, like, you got to get that energy back because then you get the 4 people stare down. Maybe we'll get like if it is John Cena and The Rock, maybe we'll get like a John Cena and Rock tag team between Roman and somebody or Sammy and Jay. Maybe it's Sammy, Jay, The Rock, and Cena Final 4. Something like that. You know, we've seen it in the past. People love that moment, seeing ruthless aggression against New Era and everything. So, but
it's good picks. I agree with you both. I think The Rock is if he's going to be there, it's 30. I think it's going to be a big name either way. I mean,
I don't see him. I don't see him going like 15. And then lasting until it's got to be like the last 5.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I feel like he's not going to come in early or anything like that. If he comes, he does his point and he goes again. So, CM Punk, anybody? No, surely not. Surely not. Not going to happen. But there's been speculated that he's still under contract to AEW, isn't he? Unless there's something we really don't know. But I'm sure AEW would have made it clear, or there'd be no compete or something. But I'm going to go Edge as number 30. I think that's just to be a little bit outside the box and different. I think Edge could be someone that could go for Finn Balor, would still be in the match point. I still reckon there'll be about 10 names this year at the end. I think they're going to make the men's match kind of like an epic at the end, I imagine. I don't reckon it'll be a short rumble. So, yeah, I'll go with Edge. But let's go with the surprise entrance then. Tino, you've probably got a list for us. So give us what names you got, because I've got a list, and I'll go through the ones probably you guys haven't mentioned at the end.
So I got Matt Riddle, because we don't know, so we haven't heard nothing about him, so maybe everything is good. We have not seen this guy since last year's WrestleMania. Rick Boogs. Where's Rick Boogs at? We haven't seen him. Robert Roode. Possibly. We haven't seen Robert Roode. I said Randy because I want to, that's the guy I'm hoping, but I don't want to get my hopes up. I love Randy Orton. I would love to see him, but then again, I don't know. I put, for like Edge 2 I had on there for that. And then the Legends. I feel like we could possibly see X-Pac. I feel like some of the guys, like, I feel like we've seen like DDP in one before. Maybe we'll see DDP. Maybe for the women, we'll see Alundra Blaze. Maybe she was there at Raw 30. Maybe we'll see some of those people. I mean, I got, and my biggest surprise, I think one of the biggest surprise, and somebody asked who it was Matt Cardona. I feel like Matt Cardona is one of those surprises that we're going to get. That, you know, and he's already trademarked as Zack Ryder, as woo, woo, woo. Maybe he does come back as Zack Ryder. And maybe it was something, what if he does that, and then they transition him into Matt Cardona, kind of a way. That they want to do it, kind of like LA Knight, but they're doing it on purpose. They want him to go from Ryder to Matt Cardona so people can see the transformation, because people that maybe haven't watched Matt Cardona, they really, like that guy said, he doesn't know who he is. They don't realize that's Zack Ryder. So that, you know, for people like that, they would get to know and realize, oh, that's Matt Cardona. That's, you know, and then go and watch, you know. So, yeah. So I think that's one of the biggest surprises. Maybe we could see Kane. I put Kane on there just because Kane, you know, Kane's been in a lot of them. We could see could we see Bo Dallas come back as Bo Dallas? Like, could we just see him, like, you know? I mean, I don't know. It just, like I said, I was just writing down a list as I was watching the Rumbles, just in case, like, we started talking about them all. And then for some of the NXT guys, I feel like this is very interesting. Because we mentioned Braun Breaker, but what about, like, Carmelo Hayes, Joe Gacy, Grayson Waller, Von Wagner? I've heard of Von Wagner's name come up a lot. Maybe we see Andre Chase come out as, like, a joke gimmick, kind of like a oh my God, what was it? No Way Jose, and who was Rosebuds, like the Rosebuds or something like that. So those were a lot of the names that I have. But like I said, I just wrote a list down and have them all next to me. So
Amazing. There's quite a lot of names there for us as well there. Kyle, some names maybe that come to spring to your mind?
Well, since Tino named off the entire wrestling roster.
I'm sorry. You couldn't have stopped me. I just
There's no stopping Tino's time. That's what I've learned.
I'm sorry.
Take it
too much. I'm sorry.
Andre Chase was the one I want to see just for personal preference, for the reason you said the comedic aspect is always good in a Royal Rumble. It's a good lighthearted spot. He'd be a guy from NXT I'd like to see. I already said Pat McAfee. And then I saw Rick Joe say it in the comments section. Would love Big E. Hopefully he's healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, I would love
and if you have a Forbidden Door entrant, why not Jay White?
Oh, yes. There it is. Yeah, amazing.
And now the comments, I see that. Yeah.
It just literally exploded with as you said it.
Funny.
There. So that's awesome. I mean, literally, there's some good ones there. There's some of the ones that have not been mentioned that I would throw out there. You mentioned Pat McAfee. What about Logan Paul making a return here in the Rumble? Could confront John Cena for something like that. Bad Bunny, I think, look, he's been announced for the WWE game. I do think he's going to be involved with Rey Mysterio and Judgment Day at WrestleMania, if I had to predict that now. I'm afraid I've got some bad news. What about Barrett? Just making a cameo. I've seen him doing the training. Just to make a cameo in the Rumble would be awesome.
Corey Graves, too. What if he
would love it
like that? Because
there was rumors last year of him potentially being in the Rumble. Yeah,
maybe him and Carmella are training together. You know, I mean, I know he's a busy guy, but I mean,
you never know. You never know. I mean, you mentioned some great NXT ones. I think Carmelo Hayes, I agree with you 100%. He will be in there. I'm going to go with Cameron Grimes. This could be a shout for his call-up.
How did I not mention my man Cameron Grimes?
Cameron Grimes. Nick Aldis was mentioned earlier. You said Matt Cardona as well. Eric Young is sitting around doing nothing. He's meant to be re-signed with WWE.
And that's the thing. There's so many people, guys. Like, that's why it could be, like, any of these guys. We don't know who it could be. Like, it's just like we could all have this list down and we could be absolutely right or we could be absolutely wrong. And I think that's like the most exciting thing because it's like this is what we like to do. Like, you can see how much the chat's been going since we started making the predictions. It's like we all just love just predicting and just not knowing.
Absolutely. I've got two more for you, and then I'll wrap it up for you there. I've actually forgotten one of them, so I'll get my list back up. The Great Muta. Obviously, we mentioned the idea of his match with Shinsuke Nakamura in Noah at the start of the year. If he got a cameo back just to be in the Rumble for a couple of minutes, I think it would be legendary. And also, I'm going to mention Hardy, the person who's doing the theme music for the Royal Rumble. Didn't he? He broke a guitar of a Solo Sikoa's back. What if they had a Rumble match like they did with the Drew Carey stuff in 2001 with Kane? They could do something like that.
God.
Able to just give him that celebrity moment, the mainstream moment to put everywhere. I think that could be fun as well. But we'll have to wait and see. It certainly would be.
Stephen Amell. What if Stephen Amell?
Yeah, absolutely.
So funny.
Absolutely. I've got Bama's chat here as well for his 1, 2, and 30. You can see Cody, Seth, and then Roman at 30. I would die on the hill, dang it. Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, we've gone through surprise entrants. We've gone through 1, 2, 30. Let's give our predictions then for the men's Royal Rumble match, or our taking away our top one, our backup. Carl, I'll let you have a third one as well. Absolutely. But Tina, I'm going to start with you. Royal Rumble, who's taking it?
I feel like it's going to be Cody Rhodes. I feel like there's no other. The Rhodes, the Royal Rumble, the Rhodes to this. And I feel like if he doesn't win, I feel like a lot of people are going to be very like, because it's going to be like, then who else? Like right now, I don't really know anybody else that could really win. And I feel like if they do have Cody win, they could, because Cody's mentioned it. And before I forget, he's mentioned, he hasn't said the Universal WWE title. He said the WWE Championship. So it's kind of maybe something where he doesn't want both titles. He wants one. He wants that WWE title so he can do it. So if they do have Cody win, maybe they could figure out a way to do it where they switch of this and that. And honestly, I really don't have a backup or anything because I really don't see anybody else winning. Maybe like Bama said, like the Roman situation or something. Maybe Sami Zayn. That would be like a Daniel Bryan moment. Then maybe they could redo the Daniel Bryan moment with Sami Zayn. But I just don't know. And so I'm gonna stick with Cody and stick with my gut on this one, and just say the American Nightmare is gonna take home the W on Saturday.
I like it. Kyle, give us your couple of names.
Yeah, these names are obvious, and I'll save my pick for an hour and a half from now. I can't believe I'm going to be doing double duty today, but here we are.
I'm very sorry.
No, it's totally fine. I enjoy talking about wrestling more than any other thing, so it's a pleasure. But Cody's obviously at the top of the list. It's like Rhea Ripley for me. There's a clear favorite, and Cody is that favorite, so he's got to be mentioned. The Rock, if he's in it, because The Rock versus Roman Reigns could easily main event WrestleMania in Hollywood. And I think the third name's another obvious one. It's Sami Zayn. Just the story writes itself. He's been in the bloodline for almost a year now, and if he could get his Daniel Bryan moment at WrestleMania 39 and dethrone Roman Reigns of those titles, that would be something. So those are my three names I'm keeping an eye on for sure, and maybe even Seth Rollins too.
Yeah, Seth. I mean, I would. The thing is, the talk was Seth and Cody. Everyone's saying about Cody. I'd love a repeat of '97. Sorry for anyone that's not seen it, but the idea of Austin and Bret Hart at the end. Bret technically won the Rumble, but the rest didn't see Austin be eliminated. He came back in and eliminated Bret Hart. I'd love that, where Seth won the match and then ends up being a triple threat with Cody, Roman, and Seth at Mania. But I don't see that happening. I'm with Tino. I'm going to go with Cody for the victory. I'm going to stick my neck out and say I don't think The Rock's going to show up. I thought for the longest time he would. I thought for the longest time it was happening. I'm now not sure. The doubt's been put in my mind with the
They got you.
Out. They've got me. So if he does come, you can imagine the eyebrow is going to be raising as I jump out of my seat. But I'm going to say Cody will win, but Sami should win. It should be Sami's moment. It's organic. It's been right. That's the way it should be, in my opinion, but I don't think it's the way they're going to go. The story for me does seem to be the tag team championship. So perhaps maybe The Rock should be my backup pick. So we'll put The Rock as the backup pick, but I'm going to stick with that. I don't think he'll be there. Watch me be proven wrong. Let's go into the chat then. We've got our take. Let's get everyone's take before we wrap up the stream. Seth 1, Cody 2, and you don't know, Jacob, that's fine. You don't have to always give us a prediction, but it's good that you got involved anyway in the chat. What if Lashley wins with MVP's help? That'd be interesting, but I don't think it'll happen.
If MVP is in the match, the only way he's allowed to be in the match is if he comes out in that giant thing that he used to do, the little tunnel thing. Because MVP is another one that possibly could be, you know. They ask him, they can't find somebody. MVP, get in the ring. We haven't seen, didn't he want to fight somebody on Raw or something like that, didn't he?
Elias, but he basically said Omos, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And then he said Omos. Man, Omos.
Yeah. It'll be interesting when he's in the Rumble. He's improving, though, a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, I'm going with a little bit. The Crown Jewel match has helped it slightly. Kyle, would you be interested at all in a Lashley win?
I don't want to be rude, but no. I mean, it's just not his year. It's just not his year. I love Bobby Lashley. I think he's a great talent. It's just not the right story, not the right time.
The Lesnar story is big enough. That's a big enough match for WrestleMania. Yep. Bam says, I like Cody at 2 because, well, it's a callback to WrestleMania. See Seth in the ring watching the Cody return. Here we go again. Love that. Fantastic. And yes, Kyle, college football is over. Bring Pat back. It seems to be. Pat being back is a popular one there. Marvel going 30. The Rock. There we go. People are saying it. The Rock and Stone Cold. A great pick for 30. Crazy idea. Who's Nintendo's favorite son? Just what if we got to see the GOAT enter the Rumble?
Oh my
Shawn
God.
Michaels. I would love to see it. I did say it as an idea in my fantasy booking the other day, but I did when I was saying it aloud, I was like, this is crazy. He's not going to do it, is he? But if HBK one more time in Texas, it would be a better send off than the Crown Jewel match against the Brothers of Destruction.
I try to block that out.
Yeah, exactly. So do it. I want them to do it. I think that would be pretty awesome. Surprise Matt Cardona, but what if SCW, he used Zach as an alter ego type character? Why Matt is smart. He takes the name for the clothing, smart business, Tino and Kyle. I mean, kind of along the lines there, almost of what you were going with there. It felt a little bit, but with the idea of transitioning from one to the other. Jay Wyatt is a popular pick there from JAS. Pat McAfee, Tama Tonga. Love that idea. That's a good one. Randy Orton, it seems to be a nice shout as well. And a Nexus return by Wade and Attack Pat for the commentary. Book it, Hunter. Could be fun. Cameron Grimes as well, another shout. Grayson Waller, Tama Tonga as well comes into there. Tino, we know who we don't want to show up. Rick, who is he referring to?
I have no idea.
Rick, let us know.
I have no idea. Rick, who you got? I have no idea. I was gonna say too, what about a legend showing up? And this is something, obviously stuff happened on Monday. What if we see like a Rikishi or something show up? As we've seen like Hacksaw Jim Duggan show up in like 2009. We saw 2008 Rowdy Piper and Jake. What if they do something like that because they weren't able to show up on Monday? I heard that's why they can't. Part of the reason why they canceled, I guess there was something that happened and everything. So maybe just throwing it out there.
It's interesting.
See another Samoa like family member out there besides like everybody we're talking about. Then what? What if like Sammy has to stand up to like Uso's dad or something like that? You know.
Sammy takes a stink face. That could be
That would be
interesting.
so great. 2023, who knew?
Who knew, indeed. Bama says, if Cody almost wins and he gets eliminated by the end by someone like Randy Orton legacy storyline, that'd be fun as well. Then the fans can get even more behind him and build up to WrestleMania 40, where I think he wins it. Jeff Samuel in-house as well. Thank you, Jeff, for checking out the stream. Says, oh my God, Cody, Randy and Ted DiBiase face off at the Rumble, and Seth is laying it down.
2009, all over again.
Absolutely. Face expression got to be on his Twitter, who show up. That might be a clue there for you. Hang on, we got another one here. Tino is right, SCW. We done who gonna show up, and that's why I'm shaking in happiness. So there's a bit of happiness there. That was the latest comment that came in just out from Rick. As well, Marcel says WrestleMania Night 1, Cody versus Roman, WWE title, and Night 2 for the Universal Championship. Marcel, we heard that one earlier, and I like the idea. And we got a shout as well, another Simone about Jacob Fatu from MLW.
Yeah, he's a stud.
That would be a fun one.
Is he the 5th Uso or the long lost Uso?
One of the 19 Usos that are out there.
There's so many. I lost track.
Jacob Uso, like it could make it work, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Tino, you got to open a wrestling promotion. Your mind is brilliant for the business, man. That's a lovely compliment.
I'm getting all these compliments. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, indeed. There, but I tell you what, we have pretty much gone through everything Royal Rumble that I think we could go through. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone that's been watching the stream. I want to say, it's been great to have everyone getting involved with the comments and stuff like that and giving their predictions. I want to say also a big thank you to Too Sweet Carl from On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Like I said, he will be live in an hour and 20 minutes. So if you want to see his official being put under the radar, going to pick one Royal Rumble winner, go and do it there. But he's also got 2 co-hosts that will be joining him as well. Would Erica and Tucker be there as well?
Yeah, Tucky and Erica will be there. This is Erica Marini's last show with OTM, unfortunately. We brought in Ian Garavaglia, my good friend, to take over as part-time co-host. So it still will be a trio, just not as terrific without Erica. So if you want to join us, like Steve said, hour and 20 minutes, 7 p.m. Central, we'll be live on all the socials at Pod on the Mark. So come check us out. Thanks for having me, Steve, by the way. Thanks again.
Anytime. And Tino as well, the live streaming king, clearly as well, seen in the comments there, a great mind for the business as well. He's got every surprise entrant listed, ladies and gentlemen. If you've missed them, go back and listen to those lists. Tino is an absolute hard-working man in our community. It does the NFL stuff as well. So, when I don't know it, I can tune in and I can learn from Tino. That's what I can do each and every week. But what I'm going to say as well, for those who are not subscribed to these channels, they're in the description of this video. So go to the descriptions, hit on the links, subscribe to the channels, check out their content. Honestly, it's fantastic stuff and not to be missed. But Tino, I want to say a big thank you for coming on, dude.
No problem. Yeah, I appreciate it. And it's kind of funny. So you're doing your show right now. Kyle's got his at 7. And after Kyle's, I'm going live for my first premiere episode of my retro pay-per-view series.
Wow.
So
there's your lineup.
There you go. They could go from here to Kyle to me. And yeah, so I'm doing my premiere episode for my retro series tonight. We're going back and watching Royal Rumble 2002, watching the full card, doing like we do regular pay-per-views. So that's what I'm doing. And then obviously, like you said, I'm live every day pretty much. Raw, NXT, AEW, pay-per-views, championship games this weekend for football. Who's going to Super Bowl? Down to 4. So yeah, we'll be live. Tino's Time, 1996. Come and hang out. Appreciate all the nice compliments. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it, and thank you, Kyle. We got to do something together, man. Me and you.
We'll make it happen, boss. Don't worry. We will.
But yeah, so no, I appreciate you guys. It's always fun to hang out with everybody, and especially you two. Don't tell anybody that.
Except the whole chat.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Except the chat.
Absolutely. But I want to say a big thank you to these guys. They are amazing to be doing collaborations with. They do awesome content. Go and check them out. We'll quickly do our last few comments then that we've got flying in, and we'll wrap things up. So at least these guys can dust themselves off and get ready for their streams, because goodness, they've gone for 2 hours and 10 minutes with me. Kyle for commentary though, and SCW both best on the mic. Got to love the compliments.
Do they know what I do for a living or something? I went to school for sports broadcasting. I wanted to get into commentary, so and they call me a sales rep and then commentary. Bro. So I appreciate it.
That's the same thing. That's what I was hoping to do too, but
yeah, here we are.
There we are indeed. Absolutely. Loving that. Bama says, awesome show, guys. Got to get ready for my show. Hope you free drop in, Steve. Make some coffee and stay up late. Drop those hot takes. I'll do my best. I'm not really a coffee guy myself, but I can get on the caffeine. I can do some of the best energy drinks out there and see how well I last. But Rick, yes, of course, it's a shame that Erica is done, but certainly I know the OTM are going to be going strong as always. But it says, awesome show, guys. It says, SCW, you back, man. We need your jokes. I've thrown a few of them in there through this show, but it seems like that he wants me to make one more. Well, unfortunately, I'm not that good off the top of my head like that.
He's like, damn, they put me on the spot. I don't know.
You can't do that to the man. It just has to come organically.
It's just got to, like, come out. Like, that's the thing. Like, I've been trying to record something for, like, 3 days now, and I've been having so much hard time. But I say it on here, and I could go for hours. It's just, like, you got to let it just go.
The organic, they can go for the chat, but hopefully this still gave him a laugh either way, because just seeing the fact that I just froze, it's good. It wasn't internet lag either, which is actually a bit of breath of fresh air for all of us. But there you go. There's a little joke that came in right at the end. Tina opened the forbidden door for Kyle. Breaking
it's open.
News.
It's open. It's open for anybody. Anybody want to come hang out? I love having guests. Anyone wants to come and hang out, watch the shows. I sit here by myself and talk to myself and stare like this. I'd rather have somebody on the show every day.
Makes it a lot easier, huh?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. Talking to myself, and then there's times, guys, where there's nobody talking, and I'm like, so what do I do here? There's especially on like some slow nights, it's like, okay, what's up, guys? I'm talking to myself. It's Tino here.
Well, I can tell you what, guys, I've got a live stream tomorrow, so I just quickly will plug that just before we finish, because like you say, it's fun to have guests on, and I've done something a little bit different for tomorrow's show. I've basically got not one, not two, not three, but I've got 4 guests joining me tomorrow. But they're not joining at the same time. We're doing it like a Royal Rumble match. We're going to start off, and then every half an hour, we're going to change it up. We're going to get someone else in. All a Q&A, Royal Rumble themed special. I'm not going to give the names away. I'm going to keep it a surprise entrance for now. So just to make it interesting, tune in tomorrow. It's going to start 9 p.m. UK time, which means it will be 4 p.m. Eastern. I believe that's 3 p.m. Central time as well. So make sure to check it out. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button as well. Subscribe to SCW. If you're watching on delay as well, drop your predictions in the comments below. We really do appreciate it. Support these great channels. And yeah, we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks for watching. Take care. Look after yourselves. And we'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.
See ya.
Yep.